reach the ultimate level of expectation, which I
Yeah.
think for this team is making a deep run in the tournament. You got to clean up those little things. And those things now over this sample size we have. They do. They have a slow start for some reason.
Yeah, they need to fix that.
I don't know what it is.
Like you said, maybe they need to get out there earlier
don't
on
know
their
what it is.
pregame. Start going a little bit harder during pregame
Yeah.
and prepare themselves a little bit more. It's very important for them to come out and figure out a way to come out and get started earlier in the game.
Yeah, go talk to Sark about his opening script.
Exactly.
And what he does so well there. We can, help each other out there. And then Sark needs a little help on his second half adjustments, which Rodney Terry has been magnificent at so far this season. So, yeah.
And I mean, I'll throw this in. Texas now just went through that hard stretch. Do not let your foot off the gas because you're playing opponents that may not be ranked as high or thought of as high. You got a 3-game stretch of guys that may be struggling a bit more. You got to win all 3 of them.
Yep.
So don't take your foot off the gas because you're doing another Saturday, Monday. You're doing another Saturday on at home and then on the road going up to Lubbock, where they hate you.
Woo.
And these are all very winnable games, but you can't let it get past you.
Don't let
Hey
up.
man, look, we went 2-2, and look, we hung with Kansas. You can't do that.
No.
Look, this section said, I think Bishop needs to watch some game tape on Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
When he plays for Chicago. Yeah, I mean, you can rebound like Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
You're doing something right.
You're doing something right.
But I think this team really has a lot of potential, though. I think now they seem battle-tested enough where if you're a Longhorn fan, you can have high expectations for this team. Don't be afraid to have high expectations for it. If they don't meet them, that it is what it is. I mean, that's just part of being a sports fan. But I think they've proven themselves up until this point in the Big 12. And, I pointed this out yesterday. They really haven't had a true bad stretch yet in Big 12 play. Knocking on wood. They haven't lost back-to-back games. Most teams at the top of the Big 12 have had a bad stretch. It's the Big 12.
It's the Big 12.
Texas has not had that bad stretch, so fingers crossed. That's what Rodney Terry tries to avoid.
7 games left.
7 games.
You got 7 games left. The next 3 are against unranked opponents, and then you play 4 ranked opponents. So you never really get an even run of this.
Yeah.
You go through a gauntlet, and then this is not easy, these next 3, but
No.
they're easier than the next 4 you're going to play up to that.
Yep.
Beat who you're supposed to beat.
Beat who? Yeah.
Don't fall for Sark in Texas football often. They don't beat who they're supposed to beat. Beat who you're supposed to beat, and that's they'll let the cards fall where they may. All right, we come back. Texans Tuesday. Who will DeMeco Ryans hire as his OC? We'll discuss it on the other side, right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. We all know that my friends over at Ironworkers Local 482 have done a great job of helping shape the beautiful city we all like to call home here in the ATX. Thanks to their skilled craftsmanship, they've been helping shape Greater Austin since 1935. You see the labors of their love all over this great city in iconic landmarks like DK Air Stadium and the Pennybacker Bridge. And as the city continues to grow and thrive, so does Ironworkers Local Union 482. I had a friend of mine who came up to me from Houston, and he was asking me that said he work here in Austin. He was looking for a job. He was looking for employment opportunities. And I told him, I said, actually, Ironworkers Local Union 482 are hiring about 3,000 people right now for a huge project. And you can become a member, and he can become a member as well of Ironworkers Local Union 482. And you can take pride in the type of teamwork and craftsmanship that helps shape the future of this great city. So all you got to do is go to ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. And you can maximize your potential and be your best self today by applying for Ironworkers Local Union 482. It's a great organization, and if you want a change in your career, you're looking for just a change in your lifestyle, you can do it by becoming a member of this great organization. Go to ironworkers482.org. That's ironworkers482.org. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Top of the charts Tuesday. We play jams. I reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. Oh, I got to wait for it. Here it comes. Yeah, there you go. Are these like songs that people would play on their anniversaries? Is that what you're doing to us today on Top of the Charts?
No, it's just Top of the Charts.
Okay.
I was going to say, because this is from, Top Gun, right? They played this in Top Gun. This is where he was playing it.
I know this
And
was
the
number
original?
one.
Yeah, the original.
Nice.
Original Top Gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, there you go, Hard. Don't do that for midweek movie music. Because Hard's already
I
sniffing
already
it out.
know that one.
He's already.
I'm paying attention to all this stuff.
He's looking at all movie anniversaries right now. He's been hot lately for midweek movie music. He's trying to keep his mojo going there.
That's right.
All right, but yeah, top of the charts Tuesday. Thanks, my man Patrick, working hard for us as always. You can hit us up on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. Let's get into the Texans. Texans Tuesday brought to you by good friends over at Bud Light. So shout out to Bud Light. Enjoy yourself one safe and responsibly. Mm-hmm. And by the way, be careful on the roads. It got ugly quick. The weather changes in this city in like the last week have been unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, think about where we were last Tuesday.
Oh, for sure.
Freezing.
Yeah. Staying at home. Not even getting out of the house.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
moving. You're not supposed to move.
Come
Power
on.
lines down. Now, yesterday it was 75
degrees.
People sweating,
Beautiful.
trying to figure out what your thermostat's
People
going to do at home.
out there kayaking
Yeah.
yesterday, just
They were
hanging
like,
out on the
oh,
lake, kicking it, having a
Now's
good
my
time.
time to get a little sun out here.
And
now
now-
you are running because you're going to melt like sugar. You don't want to get that. You don't want to get wet.
Yeah, man, it's like, it's thunderstorms out here.
Yeah.
So, a lot of extreme, strange weather. So, everybody, please be safe out there. All right, let's talk about the Texans who are zeroing in. DeMeco Ryans right now zeroing in on an offensive coordinator hire, and we haven't heard much. They've been really crickets out of Houston since his hire and since his introductory press conference with the Texans. To me, remember we said this, Harge, when the Chris Jackson reports came out from Bobby Burton of Inside Texas. I think Orange Bloods put it out there too, like right after Bobby Burton did Inside Texas. And then after that, we didn't hear anything about the
Crickets.
wide receiving coaching vacancy at Texas. And we all assumed, the reason there's crickets is because the last reports.
Exactly.
That is the only news to report. That is it.
That is it.
He's going to be the
dude.
guy.
That's your guy.
I think that might be the case for the offensive coordinator hire for the Texans. Remember, all we heard they were talking about, they were zeroing in on Bobby Slowick, and he's the pass game coordinator, by the way, for the 49ers with my man Shanahan right now, Kyle Shanahan. And there was reports that, they interviewed him and that he might be the top candidate. And since then, now I'll admit they can't really. I haven't heard anything about Eric Bieniemy because I like your suggestion, Harge, that they should reach out to Eric Bieniemy. He's still got some coaching to do.
Yep.
So maybe that's part of it too. Maybe they're waiting to see if they can talk to Eric Bieniemy. I would like that if that was the case, but I'm not sure. I believe the reason you haven't heard anything, and there's crickets right now from the Texans reporters about the offensive coordinator position, because it is Bobby Slowick's to lose or to decline.
Right.
I think that's where they're going. Albert Breer reported this morning that Houston appears well positioned to land Bobby Slowick and Clint Kubiak. Yeah, who is a son of Gary Kubiak.
Shocker.
Exactly, for their offensive staff under DeMeco Ryans. So I think that's why you haven't heard anything, because it's a done deal pretty much that Bobby Slowick will be the guy. They want to bring in the Shano recipe. He knows that his defense complements the Shanahan offense really well, so he wants to bring in the Shanahan offense. And I totally get it.
Yeah, that is what the success has been, right? You look at the blueprint of the team that you were going against every single day at practice. You saw the troubles that it was giving you, and if it was created in the right form, you can possibly duplicate that, right? You won't be at that level because you haven't spent that much time at it yet, but you're going to get an opportunity to be that type of team. And so with the players that he has and the situations that he's trying to put his team in, and let's not forget, that division is not as tough as it once was. The only team that seems to be trending upward is the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you still have that outside opportunity of making a splash and creating an offense that will be tough to compete against. So I'm looking at it and saying, okay, DeMeco Ryan has a game plan. Obviously, when he took the job, he had to have had a game plan, and now he's getting ready to try to execute that game plan.
Kyle Shanahan can still decide to
Kibosh
upgrade.
that. Yeah.
He can put the kibosh on this thing and upgrade or promote, Bobby Slowick to an offensive coordinator position, or he's pass game coordinator. So I don't know. You can give him like an assistant head coaching title. He can still decide to keep him some kind of way. But right now, that's the front runner for the offensive coordinator position. Remember, I think this is along with quarterback coach, because you're going to draft your franchise quarterback, and along with assistant head coach, because DeMeco Ryans has never been a head coach before. If you bring Bobby Slowick in, that means it's also someone who's never been an offensive coordinator and never called plays before. Man, your assistant head coach, whoever that person is going to be crucial. Because I think that you should get an offensive mind who has been a head coach, who also can potentially help a young, inexperienced play caller and give them counsel and advice too. I think that'd be some. I'd have a checklist of what I want from an assistant head coach, because they'll basically be what Gary Patterson was to Sark, special assistant.
Right.
Man, whatever. I'll give you a project and a task. Would you go try to solve that problem for me? What I always say about coaches are problem solvers.
That's what they need to be.
Just go get a problem solver.
Yep.
Because you're going to need them, because none of y'all really have any experience in coaching, and it seems like you're going to hire a lot of newcomers to their positions.
I agree with you 100% on that. And we talked about this too, as a new head coach, you need help. You're definitely going to need help, because, yes, you're used to seeing how Kyle Shanahan was running things, and who else was he with? Kubiak at Houston, right? Wasn't he part of that?
Yeah.
That coaching staff at one point too?
Just was a player, he was. But as a coach, he's only been with Shanahan.
He's only been with Shanahan. So he's seen how to run certain meetings, but there's so much delegation that needs to go into that position, and especially with you being the defensive-minded head coach, you're not going to be able to be in every single meeting, so you need somebody to lead you in that right direction, to tell you, hey, man, you need to do this, make sure you got your timing right for each practice. There's so much that goes into it. So, yeah, you do need somebody that's got experience, and you can lean on them as you start to develop your own processes as a head coach.
I mean, think about something as simple as game management, right, and clock management in the game. Mm-hmm. Something DeMeco Ryans has never had to worry about, because he's a defensive guy, so never had to worry about that. You're going to have a rookie quarterback, potentially. Someone's texting in, who's the Texans quarterback? Right now it's Davis Mills, but everybody assumes they're going to draft the quarterback. They should trade with the Bears to get that number 1 overall pick and just get whoever they think is the top quarterback. We don't know if that's going to work out or whatever, but I think because they're going to have a rookie quarterback potentially who doesn't know how to manage the clock. He's a defensive coach who's never had to manage the clock. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a rookie play caller, if Bobby Slowick gets the job, who's never really had to manage a clock. Mm-hmm. Just having an assistant coach that knows how to manage a clock.
That would be its own job.
Exactly.
That could be its own job.
Yeah,
that's right.
Right. It could be.
What does Bucky call it? A dumbass coach? You need somebody over there with you to say, hey, look at the time. Look at the time. You need to get a timeout. You need to get a timeout. Hey, look at the time. Look at the how much time is left on the play clock and how much time is left on the game clock.
Yeah.
You're going to have to do all of that just in case.
We see coaches lose track of it all the time. And you think, oh, man, that seems like rudimentary. That seems like it's something every coach could do.
Mike McCarthy.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, they're both experienced coaches in the league, but don't know how to pay attention to the play clock.
Yeah,
it makes zero sense.
I've seen John Harbaugh lose track of it before. It's just a lot of things you're doing. I mean, you're multitasking at to the nth degree. I like your dumbass coach thing. They hired one of those for Nathaniel Hackett. It still didn't work.
Sure, and it did not work.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was just the dumbass himself.
He was too much.
Yeah, they need to hire a dumbass GM before. Didn't make that hire.
Exactly.
My wife is my dumbass coach, so I'm doing pretty well.
Understood.
And she's really good at her job. Yep. She's very
takes pride in it. Takes pride in it. Takes pride in it.
She goes out of her way. She's working long hours as my dumbass coach. All right, we'll come back. We got the
Need
flex.
to pay her overtime.
She's trying to get a raise.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we'll come back. We'll get into the flex on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn.
Mike Harge here for the League Kitchen and Tavern. The League restaurants are Austin-owned and operated, with 4 Austin area locations: Avery Ranch, Bee Cave, Dripping Springs, Belterra area, and of course, Lakeway. Whether you want lunch or dinner, dine in or pick up, the League Kitchen and Tavern can take care of you. This month, the League presents the Trip to the Big Easy. The League has all types of features that have that big, easy flavor. How about getting some of that Creole Cobb salad or a stuffed pork chop? Why not try some of the potato croquettes? Hey, they're also offering a shrimp po' boy. Man, my mouth is watering just talking about all this food. Also, if you want to make a trip to the Lakeway location, on Sundays, the League also has Lonnie's Famous Fried Chicken. Legend has it that the Lonnie's Famous Fried Chicken is the best chicken around. The menu includes a family bucket that you can feed 8 members. You get 4-piece plate, wings, and of course, you get some waffle fries. Treat yourself, family, or friends. I'll see you at the League. You can order online at leaguekitchen.com. That's leaguekitchen.com.
Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. And it is a Top of the Charts Tuesday. My man Patrick plays jams that reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. That's a great song. Once again, a banger that still bangs to this day. Still going hard, man.
Any guess on the artist?
Smokey Robinson.
No.
Dang, it sounded like it.
No, it's like Joan. Is it Joan? Is it
There's
Joan? Is it? Oh,
It's not Joan Jett. Though,
No,
right?
Joan Jett does a cover of this.
she does a
Okay.
cover of it, but
That is not who did it originally.
Who's the original?
who is it?
Tommy James and the Shondells.
No, that would have never happened.
I would never got that one. I like.
My
I
man
think-
said Shondells. Like,
I think my favorite version is the Joan Jett version.
Yeah. The Joan Jett
It's a
version
really
is
good
probably
version.
more popular,
Yeah.
at least to our generation.
Yeah. It's rare, like, because that to me is like when a sequel is better than the original, which happens, but it's not
Yeah.
always the case. It's probably more the exception and not the rule. When the how often are the covers better than the original? That happens a lot more often in music.
Yeah.
Covers being better than the originals.
Yeah, a lot of times they're updated and then they're
Yeah,
recorded
yeah.
better because it's like a one-hit wonder.
That
and then you
is
get someone
true.
who's like, oh, no, I know what
Yeah.
I'm doing with songs.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
covers is not
Or you
like
get
that.
weird ones like Blinded by the Light. That it was originally a Springsteen song, and then Manfred Mann did it. And that's a popular
Some
one.
people cover it too much.
No,
Like,
but
it's too-
that's a better one. That's a more well-known one.
Is that
Manfred
exactly?
Mann, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's covers are real like that. All right, I appreciate my man Patrick always doing a great job DJing a top of the charts Tuesday. One song that's if I give any song that is perfect example of that, like just being covered over and over again, it always improves with the latest cover. It might be "Killing Me Softly."
I like that.
Killing Me Softly
like
originally,
that.
I think it was like a folk song. I want to say originally, Killing Me Softly it's like a some folk rock song way back in the day. And every time they
like
redid
that.
it was way better than the one before it.
But the one with Lauryn Hill
The
is
Lauryn
the
Hill,
one.
exactly. But
is
that's the
dope
last
one.
time.
Yeah.
That's the last time they did it. Nobody's done it since then. I'm so some kid's gonna do it and is gonna kill it.
Yeah.
Gonna kill my take. here.
Harry Styles.
Yeah. Hey, did he just win like album of the year?
Yeah,
or
but
something?
Harry Styles
No.
will be the one that's doing it.
No,
right?
you're gonna get
Or Sam Smith.
Yeah, Lil Nas X gonna do it.
Hey, Sam Smith, I think, can do a really good job of Killing Me Softly. But
Yeah.
that's one of the few that every time they covered it, the recent cover was always better than the one before it.
No doubt.
Or the original. Anyway, random topic. Let's go to FLX.
That's what we do.
That's what we exactly. On our anniversary, it is apropos that we get into this kind of random topic and go off the rails. Go to FLXATX.com, FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. There's a great update there on the basketball schedule today.
Yep.
Actually, I know it's a little gross outside.
But that's why they play indoors.
That's what they play indoors. So if you can get around, make sure you do it safely. But there is a Flex Hoops outlook there for the men's basketball schedule and women's, by the way. Shout out to the ladies as well for the different classifications. So you can go check out that schedule for today and tomorrow. For all of the high school basketball teams in the area. Power rankings are still up there as well. Those have been updated, so you can go check that out. And a special shout out. I should have done this yesterday. We talked about this young man as well, but apparently it is official, at least
Official.
a verbal commitment
Yep.
that Leonard Moore, who still has a season to play, he's a damn good player, cornerback out of Round Rock, has committed to Notre Dame.
Committed to Notre
See?
Dame.
I've been trying to tell y'all.
Yep.
I told y'all.
Get caught slipping.
Before Marcus Freeman, before he came down to Texas, I said, hey, man, there have been rumblings in that Notre Dame community that all he's talking about is I'm coming to Texas,
Yep.
and I'm going down there to take some of the ballers, some of those true big ball, the blue chip big ballers. And hell, just here in Central Texas, we ain't know what the hell he's doing in Houston and Dallas. He's got 3 of them now.
He does. He
Got
got
three
three
of
of
'em.
them. Big
2
time commitments, too.
Braylon James, Jaden
And
Greathouse, and now
yep.
Leonard Moore.
And Leonard Moore.
Man, I still think Leonard Moore might
And
be
all of them are the impactful type players.
Yeah, I think Leonard Moore might be the best corner, in my opinion, in Central Texas here in the area. But speaking of, I talked
There
about
you
how
go.
Round Rock was the best secondary, I thought, in the area this year. And there's some really good ones, too. They were one of them. They also have another player, Jalen Gilbert, who is going to have his signing
Yep.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock, it's going to be a big deal. Obviously, the players at Round Rock have done a great job and kind of set the table around here. We have Bo Edmondson, the quarterback for Lake Travis. He signed his letter of intent to go and play at UNLV, and other players
With
at
Brennan
Lake Travis.
Marion?
Yep, with Brennan Marion. And Brennan Marion is in this area, and he's going hard on a lot of these
I
guys
bet he
around
is.
here. So he's got a chance to be around, be in the state of Texas, and understand what it's about. So he's been doing and making an impact. But shout out to Jalen Gilbert. Shout out to Leonard Moore. They have been a very impactful type players, and now they're going to get opportunities to play at the next level. But I do want to go back real quick. You were talking about the basketball tonight. Buda Johnson, who is 26-3, will be at Westlake taking on the Westlake Chaparrals, 28-4, 7:30, and you can watch that game on TV. If you don't want to get out, you can watch it because our man Zay and Roger Wallace will be doing it on KBVO again tonight.
Okay.
Big Zay's doing his thing.
Zay's calling a lot of games.
Oh, yeah.
Zay's becoming a TV star.
Oh,
right?
he tried to.
Okay. I feel
tried
that.
to.
All right. Shout out to my man Zay. That's big stuff. That's big time right there. All right. We'll come back. We'll get into Mark Cuban speaking out for the first time since the Kyrie Irving trade. We'll talk about the impact of that trade. Also, will LeBron James break the record tonight? Will he make history tonight? We'll get into that as well. Talk a little NBA right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie, right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is Top of the Charts Tuesday. That means we play jams that reach the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. I have no idea what this is, but I like the vibe. It's high energy.
This is
feel good music.
This is
From your time period?
This is Meatloaf.
No, different piano player.
Who is
guy.
it?
Elton John, man. Elton John.
I was really gonna say this is a piano bar song kind of thing.
Oh, it's definitely a piano bar song because Meatloaf does some songs like this too. But yes, Elton John. That's right.
It does have a very upbeat, feel good vibe about it. So I do like it. There you go. Elton John. Shout out to my man Patrick, always keeping us on our toes when they top of the charts Tuesday. It is our 1 year anniversary as a show. So 1 year ago today, we were assembled officially. So we appreciate everybody sending us the congratulatory wishes and wishing us happy anniversary. Been working now in this industry close to 15 years.
Yeah.
So I've worked with a lot of different people. I love what Chad says about shows. I think he states it very eloquently, that basically shows have a birth and a death. They just do.
Yep.
It's just the natural order of things in radio, and when you accept that, then it's a little bit easier to kind of stay in this industry. It is a little bit sad because I know you get really close to the programs and the people and that kind of stuff. But of course the people who are on air, they think of the people listening. I hope they do, like we do, as family. But just like a lot of my exes, I always said I never really had a bad relationship because I try to learn something from all my exes.
Uh-huh.
I take something from them. They don't know it. Not physically and literally. Yeah. But I steal whatever one of their best assets and traits. I try to just take that from them and keep it with me. In that way, it wasn't a wasted bad relationship because I got better as a human being from it in some way, form, or fashion. I feel like radio, you got to think of your radio partners the same way.
Yep.
I kind of take something from them because they all have something to offer, something that makes them unique and talented and thriving. The reason they thrive in this industry. And I've worked with probably, I think this is 10 or 11 different people I've worked with, on-air guys. Now in
that's
14,
a talent,
15
bro.
years. There's a lot of different people I work with.
Yeah.
But they've all kind of taught me something. So I went through this. I just did it in my head recently here in the last break. AJ Hoffman.
I did it recently, about 10 minutes ago.
So if I forget somebody, CV will let me know.
Yeah.
Hoffa Beast, best line, if you're not having fun, then the people listening aren't having fun. So you need to make sure you're enjoying it. If you're not, then give it up. D. Hansen back in the day. Remember D. Hansen?
Yep.
D. Hansen's an extremely polished guy. Would make sure that everything's already kind of set up. He was extremely polished. Learned polish from my man D. Hansen. Seth Golden, Seti Bear, great delivery, just smooth. It's Seti Bear. Everything was smooth, man.
Smooth.
And I was always trying to be as smooth as Seti Bear. John Madani, we all know John Madani, the Bill Walsh of sports radio here in Austin.
Yep.
If you don't know John Madani, then you should. John Madani probably taught everyone and probably introduced everybody into this industry who you hear these days in some way, form, or fashion. BK's a big bit guy, loves bits. Bits and pop culture. He'd rather talk about bits and pop culture probably
than sports.
Than sports. Well, he just do bits. He loves bits. Even if it's sports related, he was a big bit guy.
Yeah.
Loved how many bits he used to do. My man KD. KD, you can never really gauge KD. I always called him conservative liberal. You can never really gauge what side he was on any issue. You would think he's going to be on this side on the issue, and you'd be dead wrong. He was always
the complete opposite.
Yeah, and I thought that was intriguing. That's fun to listen to if somebody's like, I don't never know how he's going to feel about a certain subject. So to keep the people guessing, he was good at that. Craig Way's knowledge is just something that is something that's unmatched, I think, in this industry, period. I don't know anybody that's more random knowledge than Craig Way. He's basically a walking Jeopardy game.
Encyclopedic
knowledge is exactly what it is. I always say his talent's really wasted. He should be working for one of the alphabet organizations for our government, as working in the intelligence agencies, because that's how awesome he is. But you can't work with Craig Way and not be on your stuff. You got to be on your game. I worked with Craig Way for 5-6 years, and the reason I prep the way I do is because of Craig. I mean, his work, my work ethic is because I try to match that guy.
I didn't see I didn't see as much
awesome.
paper from Craig Wade though.
No, because he's got it in his head.
It's all in the trap.
Just to try to keep up with that dude. It took me like 3 tablets per day to keep up with him. Keith Moreland, Big Red, probably the best storyteller I've ever heard on the air. He's got a lot of great stories, but man can tell a story. Just the timing of it, knows where to put the punchlines, the one-liners, all that kind of stuff. Harge, I will tell you, man, you're great at relationships, connections. You're unbelievable at it. Like, I mean, you do know every damn body. I joke about that, but you do know every damn body.
But it is true.
Yeah, and honestly, out of all the people I worked with, Patrick is probably among the most multi-talented people I've ever worked with. Buck can do anything.
Can do everything.
Come on the mic, can go behind the board and handle that, can cut spots, promo, whatever it needs. Anything that we can do, that we have to do in radio, Patrick can do it. I mean, he's the ultimate utility guy.
Yeah, I was going to say, you call it Swiss Army knife.
Yes.
He's
really
got
is
everything, every piece, MacGyver.
Yes, and as long as I work in this industry,
happen.
I should have that kind of skill set. I do not. And I still kind of strive to do that at one point in my life, to be that well-rounded in this industry. But, yeah, man, my advice to anybody, if it's not a failed relationship, business, or personal, you got to take something from it.
For sure.
Take
That's
something,
what it's all about.
Steal something, and it'll make you'll become a better person. But everybody's got a talent. Figure out what their talent is and learn from it, and figure out what makes them special. Maybe it's a methodology. Maybe it's just natural instinct or whatever, and steal it.
Well, the one thing that I always think about whenever we're coming in here, and people have always said it to me, they were like, "Man, Rod has so many papers, and what is it?" I was like, that's his knowledge. That's what it is. He knows where it's at. So it's not like one of those things like some people can come in and they'll be all over looking for papers and doing all this stuff because it's unorganized. Yours is organized chaos.
It is organized
because you
chaos.
know exactly where it is. Like I've seen you do it numerous times. I'll bring up a subject and all of a sudden you'll look into your bag and you're like, yeah, on December 22nd at 3:25, I remember telling you about that. And I'm like, how in the hell did my man know that?
Man.
But it's part
I
of
didn't
what
know it.
you
I wrote it
said.
down.
Right. And for you, what it made me understand too is the work ethic is part of your delivery, right? So you've already know what it is. That's why I asked Patrick the very first time. I said, "Man, Rod strolls in at that time, huh?" He's like, and you told me flat out, you like, "Cause I'm prepared. If I needed to come in early, I would come in early. That means I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna be delivering, but I'm prepared.
Yeah.
And so that's where I've kind of taken that mindset as well, because I'm still relatively new. You've been doing it for 15 years. I've been doing it for 5.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So there is a difference. So you could say that you're new. And to your point, John Madani was somebody that I met with. And when I first got the job over at the other station, he was back in town, and me and him went to lunch because of some mutual friends that we all have.
That's right.
They were like, go talk to John real quick. And we went, had some drinks, had a little dinner, and he just told me the one thing that he told me, because I was replacing the legend. I mean, you know, our man Sean Adams, rest in peace, my man. But he told me, you're not him, be you, and I promise you, you'll be okay.
Yep.
And I was like, as soon as he told me that, that's when everything just kind of took off for me. And I just started being my own person, saying my own things, and, you know, not trying to be the smartest person in the room, but being somebody that everybody can relate to.
Yep.
Because that's who I am. That's like you said. I know a lot of people because I can relate to so many people.
It is amazing. Like I say, he does know every damn body. Every time I meet somebody, they know Harge. It's one of those things. Yeah, so it's, and, you know, I don't know, I've never worked with Bucky, but Bucky would always say, you just got to be yourself, let the chips fall where they may. If they don't like you, they don't like you.
Yep.
You can't control that.
Change them.
He said, but what would really be, it's going to really be tough for you is to be fake every day. And Bucky would always say, you got to just be yourself.
Yep.
Be real.
The show is
be a
easy
genuine
when you
article.
come in and being yourself.
Yeah, he said, everybody's not going to like you being yourself every day,
Right.
but it's easier, he said, than being fake.
Exactly.
He said, you be fake, then you're going to get tired of that, you know, that facade at one point, and then you're going to switch up on the people, and they're going to be like, hey, why'd you change? It's like, actually, now I'm being real. It's like, no, just be real from the
just be
jump.
you.
Just be you from the jump and let the chips fall where they may. So anyway, happy anniversary to the crew. And thanks to all the people listening, man, because I've been in this industry 15 years, and it's because people listening and the folks out there. I consider you guys to be family, so that's part of this equation. All right, Specs text lines, the best way to reach out to us, 512-337-3776. Let's talk about LeBron James, Showman. Because tonight he could potentially make history. He's going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder in L.A. He needs 36 points to break the all-time scoring record held by one Kareem Abdul-Jabbar of 38,387 career points. He could break it tonight. There's a belief that if he doesn't, that he might not break tonight. So that's actually the tickets have gone down. The ticket prices have gone down for this game because now people are predicting he's going to break it the next game on Thursday when he faces the Milwaukee Bucks, and that's a sexier headline because that is one of the teams that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, along with the Lakers, played for, one of the two teams that he played for.
I put the wager out there today that he's breaking it tonight. I think he's going to go out there and absolutely go bonkers, and I predict that he's going to make it with a three-pointer at the end of the game. I think not at the end of the game, but I think he's going to make it on his shot to go over is going to be a three-pointer.
Okay.
Because it's been an interesting tale of LeBron, and everybody talks about signature shots, right? Like, what is your signature shot? Kareem is the sky hook. That's who he is. But Michael Jordan, fade away. Kobe, fade away. Clyde Drexler, Daryl Dawkins, all these guys are dunkers. Wilt Chamberlain, dunker. So when you look at how Magic Johnson, what is his signature shot? You don't really know what Magic's signature shot is, but you know what Kareem's is. And everybody's been trying to figure out what would LeBron's signature shot be. And LeBron said his tomahawk dunk. He said that is what people recognize with him because he is one of those guys that tries to dunk so hard. He doesn't have a signature shot because he does so many different things.
But that's kind of LeBron's thing, and that's why people disrespect LeBron like they do, is because he's a guy who's just consistent.
Yep.
And he just plays basketball well for
he
4
loves
quarters.
The game. Yep.
And they go, well, he didn't go off on that 20-0 run that one guy had. And you're like, yeah, but he scored 20. He's 5 in the game. This guy scored 20, and he put them all in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Yep.
It seems like more impressive that he does 25 every night. And you're like, no, but he did 20 in the third quarter. Like, but he does 25 every night's more impressive.
Yeah, look at the consistency.
I think he beats it tonight because they're playing OKC, and OKC is the type of game where you can give LeBron a 60-point game if you want to, where you just feed him the ball. You go, look, we can win this game with you just shooting, and we're just going to feed you, and OKC doesn't have to play him super hard like they're trying to. I mean, they might go and
they're not going to be like trying to let. They're not going to let him break the record against them easily. Right?
They're going to play
like,
some defense.
Like this. y'all may beat us, but LeBron, we don't want to be on highlights for the next 100 years.
I bet some of those guys are okay with being on the highlights because they ain't going to be playing in the league much longer. It's OKC. There's a lot of Jags in OKC. So I'm just, and you can see OKC put in bench guys at a point and just go, hey man, you know what? The owner says, hey, it's better to be in the news than not be in the news. Because if you wait till tomorrow, it's got to be really close because, yeah, it's a better story with Milwaukee. But Milwaukee wants to win. Yep. OKC doesn't. So
they've been playing well, though, for the last
they've been playing
month
all right.
and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, SGA is awesome. Like, he's causing a real problem for them because they're going to have to pay him too much money. And they're like, well, in the rebuild, but you're like, you can't guarantee Holmgren is going to come back and be healthy. You can't guarantee you're going to get this top pick of Scoot or Wembanyama. Like, you can't just keep trying to rebuild and then get rid of guys who are playing at a really high level like SGA. But I think, like, if we saw Kobe's last game is the example you give of when they just kept feeding him the ball.
That's true.
And they're running screens for him, and they're doing everything. Yeah. And they just go, hey, man, playbook is get Kobe the ball. Yep. It's his last game. I think you can do that for LeBron against OKC. And just be like, get him the ball. And
take him out.
But get him the record. No, but that's the thing. Get him the record. Get him 60 points. Like, make it a game. Get him 50, 60 points in the game and go, oh, no, he beat the record in dominating fashion.
So
not he scored 36 and got it, and then, oh, well, he got in the last shot. I think you can do it to where you're like, oh, no, he blew the record out. Right. And then now he's got half a season to go.
So here's his numbers that he's had for the last couple of weeks. He's had 24, 35, 48, 32, 23, 37, 46, 20, 41, 28, 26, and 27 points per game.
That's crazy. At 38 years
old?
old?
38 years old.
Wow.
So, and he's averaging 30 points per game. I mean, per game this year. So you're looking at it in a different light. And the way that he goes about it is, that was one of the discussions Patrick and I were having earlier, is like, people disrespect him so much. But the one thing that y'all don't even understand how many assists this guy has, how many rebounds this guy has been a part of. in the way that he's played the game, and he went to the finals so many times every year. I mean, you start looking at it and you take it for granted. You take it for granted how good this guy is. And not only that, he's 38 years old and he's still playing out of his mind.
Yeah. No, he's aging, really well. I mean, he's aging just around the same rate of, like Tom Brady aged.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady had some amazing years after 38 years old.
Exactly.
So you wonder if LeBron James can keep it up. So I'm with you. I think he could break it tonight. It depends on what the Lakers want to do. If they do like Patrick said, they decide, all right, you know what? The whole game plan is about him breaking the record. All right, That's it. Then he'll break the record easily. If they just want to go and actually play a traditional game against OKC, I'm not sure he will. Listen, OKC's playing really well right now.
They are.
They're playing their best basketball this season. How about this? Since 2023, the new year, they're the sixth best record. They're first in 3-point percentage, points per game, net rating, and offense. And they have a top 10 offense and defense since December. And only the Nuggets are the only team that can say that. They've been playing really well.
Yeah.
So if they want to decide, he ain't breaking the record against us, then they very well could put the kibosh on this whole thing, and then it could end up being the game Thursday with the Milwaukee Bucks. The NBA has made the Lakers' next 3 games, actually. Their next 3 games are going to be prime time, so it doesn't matter. Lakers be on TNT tonight for the late game. Thursday, they're going to also be on TNT, and then on Saturday, they're going to be on ABC versus Golden State.
Yeah.
So they're going to make sure.
It'll happen. It's going to happen
no matter
within
what
the next
happens,
2 days.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
They're going to make sure that it's nationally televised when LeBron breaks the record.
Yeah.
How about this? You brought this up a couple of weeks ago, Harge, because it was trending this way. But courtside seats, 166 and 167. All right, so those are 2 seats courtside at the Lakers game at their home arena. They are now going for $75,000 each for the OKC game. Total price together, $181,500. And for the Milwaukee game, the total price of both of those seats, 166 and 167 courtside, are a total of $242,000.
It ain't tricking if you got it.
Including fees.
It ain't tricking if you
want to
got
watch LeBron James make history. I mean, let me ask you this. I'm gonna give you a ticket to the Super Bowl that puts you. But what the courtside equivalent is, you'll be right there on the front row of the Super Bowl, 50-yard line, whatever you want to say. I'll give you that, or wherever the best seat is in the house of the Super Bowl, or you could have the best seat in the house to watch LeBron James break the record. What do you take?
I got the best seat in the house for both of those events in my living room, so I got the best seat in the house. But I would take the Super Bowl. I would definitely take the Super Bowl. Yeah, I love football. I love basketball, but I love football, and I've never been to a Super Bowl. I've been to basketball games. I've been to not them $75,000 seats. I've never been in those seats.
Never been in those seats.
I ain't spent much time in that area right there. I might if I can get to the arena early and take a picture sitting there, I'll do that. But I would definitely take the football game.
I think I'd take the LeBron James courtside seats for the LeBron James record breaker.
The question is, do you want to hang out with Lakers fans or Eagles fans? And both seem like a terrible thing.
That's fair. But I will say, I can go. You're right, because I've been to a Super Bowl, so maybe this clouds my judgment. I've been to a couple, so it clouds my judgment a little bit. I know that is something that every American probably wants to do, whether you're a football fan or not, because it's such an iconic experience right now. You're talking about Americana. But, man, how often does somebody break the all-time scoring record for the NBA? I mean, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar did it, and before him was Wilt Chamberlain?
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about something that ain't going to happen again for another...
Nobody thought nobody was going to get to this.
60, 70 years. I don't know. The person that's going to break this record isn't born. And,
he's not Bron?
I was going to say,
Bron. Once Bron gets it, nobody.
No, I mean Bronny.
Oh,
Bronny.
wow.
Actually, it's going to be that draft pick in 2029. that the Brooklyn Nets
that 7th grader.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like it's going to be a while. Maybe it won't. Maybe we'll have some young up and coming phenom that will get on track on the LeBron James like track.
People thought KD was going to be that guy.
They did. I remember
people
that.
thought KD, but he's dealt with so many injuries. So that goes back to the other part about it. The longevity that he's been able to do and play in this game is something that people truly take for granted. It's like, regardless of how you feel about LeBron, you need to look at the fact that this guy was able to play this long in the NBA and to be able to get this record. And not only does he have that, I think they said he passed Mark Jackson just the other day for the assists. I mean, this guy has done unbelievable things. And they always said he wasn't a good shooter. He wasn't a good shooter in the NBA. And he was a pass-first guy, which makes it even better that he is going to be the one to break this record.
Yeah, he wasn't a shooter. I believe he's in top 10 all-time for field goal percentage and three-point percentage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. People just throwing out stuff. Oh, I just don't like him. Man, stop. This is all about basketball. Don't nobody care. When you look at it and you break it all down, his name will be at the top of the list for all-time leading scorer.
Yeah, I mean, like, the funny part is you're like, hey, man, you're playing a pickup game, and it's like you want LeBron or Karl Malone. You're all taking LeBron. You can go, Karl Malone's got stats too. No, you ain't taking Karl Malone.
Exactly.
You know you aren't.
And the only reason why you won't pick LeBron is because you got some kind of grudge.
Oh, man, I think him and Paul Pierce are – get out.
You're not allowed to talk anymore.
No, he's more hated than most all-time great superstars, and this is going to be the case going forward for superstars. By the way, this is not just something that is isolated to LeBron. LeBron is just the biggest NBA superstar of our time, but because he's a social media age star as well. Mm-hmm. They're always going to be more hated than they are loved, or just as hated as they are loved.
Yep.
Look at KD. Like it's impossible now. It's going to be really hard to go through unscathed in the social media age. Think about it. Kobe Bryant, it was more loved than hated by NBA fans just because he was right before the social media age. If he had been in the social media age and everything happened to Kobe Bryant that happened, he'd be just as hated, if not more hated, than he was loved.
Yeah.
It's just so, and by the way, LeBron has never really gotten into anything.
He has never
controversy
gotten
off the court.
No.
Now, I know some people like his political opinions and then
that's
his,
totally different.
Him trying to be an agent
totally
of
different.
social change. I get all that. Different discussion. What I mean? So you can feel about that how you want to feel. I'm not telling you to feel one way or another.
Exactly.
But my point is that's not really a scandal or controversy, but he's still just as hated. Just like that's a social media thing because now everybody's opinions are known about every star. And to LeBron's credit or discredit, even this week, what did he have the tweet saying? Maybe it's me.
Well,
or is it? Right?
Yeah,
Is
the
it
Kyrie
me or
Irving
something
stuff.
like that?
Yeah, the Kyrie
See,
Irving.
exactly. Even LeBron fans go, yeah, they roll their eyes. Yeah, that's LeBron. Because that's LeBron seeking the limelight a little bit. And then acting, trying to play the victim like, whoa, don't pick on me.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean don't pick on you? You just put that damn tweet out there. So I get it. And I think it's just part of being a social media superstar.
And I'll throw in there, too, this is a guy that is supposed to succeed from day one, which is usually not favorable to people. People like an underdog story or someone coming up.
That's true.
So the fact that Kobe was drafted later and people said he wasn't going to make it, and then he came on. And you're like, yeah, he was a 14th. Like, he wasn't really that far off. But people like that story better.
Tom Brady.
To people like Tom Brady. They don't like that LeBron James, when he was a junior in high school, they were like, that guy's going to be the all-time scoring leader. And they were right. That really makes people angry that he was as good as he is. So there's this point of it where people are like, I hated him because I hated him when he was 16 years old. I hated a 16-year-old kid because
they
told me he
shoved
was
him
gonna be
down your
great.
throat.
They shoved him down my throat, and now I still hate him because of that. And I was more impressed. I was like, hey, man, for him to be able to do that and not be a worse person.
Right.
Like, to be hated and talked bad about as a high school student, and then come up and try and be a good person. That always was like, I have to respect some part of that because it's very easy for him to go the other way.
It is, and
he's been with the same woman since high school.
Yeah,
Think about that.
And TMZ looking for it.
They've been stalking him. They've been stalking him,
TMZ
dog.
looking for those.
Yeah.
Those
Larsa
LeBron thoughts.
Larsa Pippen been creeping around the crib for 15 years.
So yeah, I get it, but it's you got to give props where it's due. I mean, the man's about to become the all-time scoring leader in the NBA.
And people always talk about him going from team to team. You do realize that he was a free agent every time he went somewhere. His contracts were set up that way.
He negotiated.
Nobody was traded for LeBron James. LeBron James was a free agent.
Has he ever requested a trade?
No.
Or demanded a trade?
Because all of his contracts are 1 year.
He has done the be the general manager thing, which but that's
Failed-
what the NBA
failed
does.
miserably.
It happens.
What'd you
Hey,
say?
guess
The
what?
NBA
So did
paid
Kobe.
So did
So
Tom
did
Brady.
Michael.
So did
Exactly.
Tom Brady just tried it too, by the way.
Exactly.
They did it too.
All the GOATs get there where they're like, you know what?
Yeah.
I think I can do better than you at your job. It happens to every GOAT.
Exactly.
They all get there. It's
I want
just-
to play with my friends. Put my friends with me.
And it's usually a mistake.
It always is. That's why I always say sometimes it's best to play the background
Yeah.
and not be the one that's
I get
always
it.
trying to make the decision. Because when it fails, they coming at your head.
It's on you.
Yeah,
It's on you,
it's
Brian.
all your fault.
All right, what you got coming up on Harsh Knock Life?
Well, we're going to talk about nepotism and when it goes wrong. There's a story in college football that I find very interesting, and I want to get y'all's thoughts on it.
All right, I can't wait to talk about
Yeah.
this because I got a little nugget to add
Okay,
to your
perfect.
nepotism take.
Let's do
All right,
it.
we'll do that when we come back. Right here, Ball Don't Lie, 104 down the horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Twin Peaks. Now, you already know that my friends at Twin Peaks have one of the best happy hours in the city. You've heard me bragging about it, and it's a lot to brag about. From 2 to 7, Monday through Friday, go check out their happy hour. You get great deals like $1 off the shots, the 29-degree draft brews as well. They got $2, $4, and $6 appetizers available during their happy hours. But also, don't forget, coming up tomorrow, you got your hockey headquarters will be your local Twin Peaks restaurant. You can watch and win really cool prizes like NHL swag, authentic jerseys, just by hanging out at Twin Peaks for their NHL Wednesday night hockey right at the lodge there. Also, they have Jaeger specials, Jaeger and Jaeger cold brews, just $3.99 all day and night tomorrow. And they're also honoring the pursuit of brews and barrel-aged bourbon every Friday at their Bourbon and Brews party. So get to Twin Peaks from 5 to 7 to experience a lingerie costume party paired with exceptional bourbons, tastings, and giveaways at your local Twin Peaks. Go to twinpeaksrestaurant.com to find out more about their specials. The Twin Peaks at your location, Stastny, San Marcos, or the Round Rock location. That's Twin Peaks, Eats, Drinks, and Scenic Views.
Welcome back to a Top of the Charts Tuesday edition of Ball Don't Lie, anniversary edition of Ball Don't Lie, 1 year anniversary of this crew getting together and making history. That's what we do. But it's your boy Hardball Hard. You can hit me up on Twitter at Hardball Hard. You can hit my man Rob Babers up at Rob Babers. And, of course, the man behind the glass at It's Patrick Davis. We love when everybody likes to debate with us and hit us up on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. And, okay, so there's a story that's out there, and Athletic does a great job. And I thought this was kind of interesting because of the way that it was presented. And what I'm going to do, his name is Scott Dockerman. He wrote this article, and I want to just put this headline out for you. And if you know anything about Iowa, the Iowa Hawkeyes and their head coach, his name is Kirk Ferentz. That is his name. He's been there for a very long time. He pretty much runs the state. You know what I'm saying? He's been around Iowa for a long time. I think he replaced Hayden Fry, if I'm not mistaken, and has been there just that long. But the Iowa offense, this is the headline. The Iowa offensive coordinator, Brian Ferentz, contract changes include a $50,000 pay cut, points per game target. Let me read that to you again. Iowa offensive coordinator Brian Ferentz contract changes that include $50,000 pay cut and points per game target. And you're like, what does that even mean? Well, Brian Ferentz received a $50,000 pay cut and a designated performance objective to average at least 25 points per game while the program wins at least 7 games, the athletic director Gary Barta said on Monday. Ferentz, the eldest son of the head coach Kirk Ferentz and the offensive coordinator since 2016, officially will be supervised by the athletic director and making sure that he complies with the state and university nepotism laws. Brian,
that's a real thing?
That's a real thing.
It needs to be, probably.
Right. Brian Ferentz's salary has dropped to $850,000 from $900,000, which with an 8% raise after participating in the Music City Bowl. Brian Ferentz initially was contracted to make $972,000 this year. So this goes back into where their offense, remember, last year's team was probably one of the worst offensive teams in their history of Iowa football. And the reason why, they averaged 17.7 points per game that last year and ranked 123rd nationally. So what I think has happened during this time is they have been trying to bring in a different offensive coordinator, and Coach Ferentz is saying, no, I'm not bringing in a different OC because obviously my son is the offensive coordinator. Wow. We'll make the changes. We'll make the adjustments.
Come on, man.
Well, according to the contract amendment, if designated performance objectives aren't met, Brian Ferentz's deal will return to the prior 2-year rolling agreement along with a one-time lump sum bonus and a base salary adjustment. And that will end, if he does not hit these goals, it will end his employment on June 30th of 2024. So basically he has this year to make it through the season, and then by 2024
and meet those requirements.
He has to meet that requirement coming up this season.
And if he doesn't, he's out of there. He's out of there.
He's out of there.
And Kirk Ferentz is basically refusing to. And on what grounds is Kirk Ferentz refusing to make this move? Is he? What?
Well, you know exactly what the grounds are.
Well, he can't say that.
Yeah, he can't say it. That's why they said the nepotism laws.
That's why I said I wonder what he's using as an excuse, because he can't use. Yeah, I mean,
there's something about this kid I like. I don't know what it is.
He was raised right.
Yes, he was raised the right way.
Got a good upbringing, this kid does.
And the beautiful part about this is the other title says, what does this mean for the fans? And it said, no person in a politically divisive state of Iowa has been more reviled than Brian Ferentz. The vitriol over his continued employment is off the charts. Many fans will need to decide whether they want to continue to full support the program, or do they take away and step away from the program until they get this all figured out. Iowa sold out every home game last year, so the reduction in ticket sales are possible. So let me ask you this.
He's a state employee, though. That's why this is political.
That's exactly why it's
you're talking about
political.
the highest paid state employees in that state.
And
some of them.
And the other part about it all, this year the team's defense scored 6 of the team's 25 touchdowns, which means 24% of the team's scoring came from the defense. Brian Ferentz has led the offense, the Hawkeyes, to a solid scoring seasons previously. In 2020, he averaged 31.8 points per game, ranking second in the Big Ten against Big Ten teams. And in 2018, the team had 31 points per game, which ranked 4th in the Big Ten. So my question to you, as the changes have happened and now they've got people kind of eyeballing and overseeing this, this is not going to end well, is it?
No, if there's so much attention on it now.
Yes.
Now they're watching his every move. People are, looking at every concept, every construct with the offense. They're probably breaking it down analytically and also breaking it down schematically.
Correct.
And they're just poking holes in everything. So, yes, even if he meets those requirements, if it's just the bare minimum, it's still going to be tough to keep him unless he just does an exemplary job.
Like getting back to that 31 points a game.
Yes, he got to go above and beyond. So maybe that's what they're banking on, that he's extraordinary this season. I think that's the only thing that can save him, because right now there's just too much attention being drawn to it. And, now money being talked about. You got the political factor thrown in there.
Yep.
It's just ugly. And Kirk Ferentz has been there how many years now?
He's been there. CB just said it. He's been there since 1999.
Yeah, so he's been. Talking about a guy's been there almost 25 years, man. He's been there a long time. It's gonna be hard to remove him. Period.
No doubt.
And he knows that.
He
knows that. Hey, man, I got enough clout now where I can basically force them to have to keep my son on,
right,
even if the fans don't agree with it.
1999. That's nepotism at its finest.
Yeah, he's been.
Especially because I can understand having somebody in there, and he's had success. Let's not get it twisted. We've obviously seen that he's had success and he's done some good things. I don't know if he's kind of resting on his laurels and things hasn't happened for him, but there are other positions, and we've seen it numerous times with everyone else that have been involved. If your kid is not the offensive coordinator or your kid is working in the organization, I think a lot of people see it as an okay deal, right? If he's working his way up and doing certain things, or working her way up and doing certain things. But if you're not bringing everything to the table and you've had a slump and other people are getting fired because of certain situations, but you're keeping this person on, that's where I think people start to get frustrated, and maybe that's why it's starting to get a little bit political as well.
Yeah. Nepotism it's rampant.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
In the coaching industry. We just talked about Clint Kubiak's son, the son of Gary Kubiak, and he's being considered for one of the jobs of the Texans. And hell, even my boy Shano has benefited from it. So
look at the Patriots' defensive staff. They got 2 Belichicks on the defensive staff.
Yeah, it is. In coaching, there have been several complaints about it that there should be more, kind of institutional guardrails against nepotism in coaching because it's so rampant. And it makes a lot of sense. A recent study, this was actually a year ago, a recent research study conducted by the NFL determined that 9 of the 32 current head coaches were either the son or father of a current or former NFL coach.
Right.
The same research report also found that 63 total NFL coaches were biologically related or related through marriage. 53 of the 63. So it's just that's at the NFL level, but I can guarantee you at the college level it may be worse.
Right.
I'm not saying anything's wrong, but it's not about what you know; it's about who you know in this world. but basically 14% of all coaches, and this was a separate study from the one I just mentioned, it found that, this was a study done by 3 different individuals, said there are 111 NFL coaches who are related biologically or through marriage to current or former NFL coaches out of the total 792 coaches employed by the NFL teams. That's 14%. That was as of March 2021.
Wow.
So, I mean,
It's probably more now.
It's probably more now.
Yeah, it's probably more now.
And in college, honestly, I think it'd be higher in college. I really do. Just from the people
for
that
sure.
I know, because it's easier to do it in college too. And I'm not saying
Well,
anything
because
wrong
some of them
with
are
it.
coming off as grad assistants.
Yes.
They're coming in and getting their way into coaching.
Exactly.
So that right there is okay. I get that.
Yeah.
It's that other part of it that continues to happen to where it's like, this dude's offense is terrible.
Yeah.
It's like we just got a text from an Iowa guy. He said, I'm an Iowa guy, and he needs to be replaced. 8-5 last year was unbelievable, especially with no offense.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get it. But I've dug into. I went down the rabbit hole of nepotism for a while, and I was, like I said, that was some of the stats I gave you. I was a little surprised.
Right.
I said overall the league averages 3.4 coaches per team who are related to a current or former NFL coach, and the percentage of coaches at the supervisory level, the ones with hiring power, is even higher. 11 of 32 head coaches were related to a current or former NFL coach.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I understand that. I mean, you got to get your foot in the door.
No, I get it,
there's
but-
ways
yeah.
of getting in there, and it always. I mean, it happens in business. It happens all over. It's a way of life.
Yes, it is.
But it just starts to magnify, especially when all these people are now. The whole state of Iowa is trying to figure out a way to get him out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that goes. That's why you should try to guard against it, because once the the family is entrenched
Right.
in a seat of power, so to speak, like he is right there at Iowa. Yeah, it's tough to remove those guys.
Yeah,
it's
no
really
doubt.
hard. But the NFL they don't talk about it a lot in the NFL, and because I guess it's helping everybody, so nobody will talk about it. And I've said this before about coaching. Coaching is just a quid pro quo. It's just a quid pro quo culture.
Yep.
It's, I did you a favor, so I need a favor.
Yep.
Mike McCarthy, right?
It's been
Mike
happening
McCarthy
a
got
lot
his first
lately.
job. His first job as an NFL coach with Marty Schottenheimer. Hired a young Mike McCarthy to be a quality control coach and gave him his first assistant coaching job. And Brian Schottenheimer, who has been pretty much, he has been ostracized from the NFL community, that he will never be given an OC job anymore, hadn't proven himself. And then Mike McCarthy says, I'll do you a favor, man. Your pops did me a favor, bro. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you in.
You ain't
as
calling
my
no plays, but you my OC.
Yeah.
That is the NFL.
Financial.
That's the NFL coaching world in a nutshell.
Yeah. Yep.
It is. I did you a
Agreed.
favor. I need a favor.
Yeah.
And you
And
just
don't
gotta,
worry about it. Just make sure you keep my office straight and give me
Yeah.
design a practice schedule for us, and we'll be okay.
Yeah,
And,
and it's like Sean McVay's father, Jim McVay, or his grandfather, whatever. I mean, he
Grandpa.
did favors for people back in the day, and
Yep.
then now those favors are being, reaped, I should say, by Sean McVay.
Yep.
Yeah,
It
and-
happens. It's the way of the world.
And the Jeff Saturday hire will not make that any better. Because
No.
now they all point it down and go, that's why
Yep.
you don't bring in people who don't know anything. That's why you don't. And so you can take every bad example of a nepotism hire and they can find you a good one, because there's so many.
Yep.
But they'll take that one of a guy coming in out of nowhere. And yes, it was a weird hire. But just saying, that will be a point for many, many years of why you don't hire people from outside of the ranks to do things, because that's what happens.
That's
Yep.
fair. That is
Yep.
fair. And like I said, I am not against nepotism, because I think it has worked. Jim Harbaugh is that, Shanahan, in that category, Sean McVay in that category.
Yeah, I said Joe Lombardi just got fired in San Diego,
Joe
in
Lombardi.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, and it's like I say, it's just coaching. It's just, I think it's part of coach. It's because you grow up in that household. It's why military families happen, because you grow up in a household
Absolutely.
with a certain lifestyle, and that is the lifestyle and that is encouraged.
Well, and I was saying,
in that
Bill
household.
Belichick's dad was a scout for colleges for years.
Exactly. It just,
Like-
yeah. So that household, they go to dinner and say,
Yeah.
we're talking about football and
Yep.
scouting.
And that's
Kids
the
grow
other
up
part
with
of it too, and that's why I think it's cool. But every once in a while, you get that one that you're like, how is this dude still coaching It's because of the coaching carousel
Yeah.
and the people
Who you
that he's
know.
connected to.
That's why it's just a retread industry. That's why sometimes it's kind of hard for the new guys to break in.
It is.
Because it is a retread industry. You got guys getting fired who got really great resumes, and sometimes you got to break in at different levels, which is why the HBCU level has come into play lately. Because
for a lot of guys,
Brendan Marion started there, Deion Sanders started there, because it's one of those.
Eddie George is there.
Yeah,
now.
a lot of levels where they'll give you a chance. They'll give you a chance. Hard, you say, I want to coach football. You may get a chance at HBCU when you may not be able to get a chance at a Group of 5 or a G5 program. So you start at the D2 level or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Good Hard Knock Life there. Good conversation. We come back. What is a darkness retreat?
I need to know this.
We'll educate you when we come back.
Come on.
I didn't know what it was either. I have to Google it. Right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn, Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Apple Leasing, because time is money and they understand this all too well. They're going to save you both. That's what I love about Apple Leasing. They're all about you. That's just like this show. They're all about the people. They're trying to save you time, save you money, and find you great value. Apple Leasing, they understand that, the economy right now is crazy, that inflation seems to be out of control. It's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, buy anything for that matter. So leasing actually makes more sense now than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. My friends at Apple Leasing have the ability to put you in any make or model vehicle that you want. The professionals over at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want. And all it takes is one phone call or one click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. Apple Leasing's simple interest, easy lease makes life, simple, because it gives you more flexibility, which is going to give you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best. So reach out to my friends at Apple Leasing today at 512-346-9977, or once again, 512-346-9977, or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com. All right, welcome back to another edition of Off the Record right here on Ball Don't Lie. Okay, we have sound and audio, so I'm not going to ruin it, and I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to just get right to it. So Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show, and here's how it went down. Sorry, I probably should have set that up better for Patrick. I just... All right, that is Aaron Rodgers saying that he's going through a darkness retreat, Harge. He broke it down for you. You're advocating for this? You cool with this?
No.
You
I mean, what is going on? It sounds like he's in jail and they put him in the tank where he has to be in there by himself, isolation, not being able to be seen, none of that stuff. Like, what? You can't do that at your home? Or are people coming by? I mean, what is happening
Maybe
here?
tough to do at the house. Maybe he's got distractions, the phone, TV, stuff like that. Maybe he's,
I
he
just
wants to be. Maybe it's like the ayahuasca. It's an experience that he wants to go through, like a soul-searching journey. He's obviously someone who's in search of answers. Like he wants to enrich and evolve his I don't know, like his his cultural and his I would say subconscious.
Look, to each his own on a lot of things in life, right? I mean, whatever it takes to cleanse your soul and cleanse your body.
Yeah.
It's just it just seems so dramatic for me to
It's
sit
deeper
here.
meaning.
I mean, it definitely is, and I haven't been that deep in a long time, and nor have I wanted to disconnect from people that way. I mean, that's just who he is. That's probably why he's single. That's probably why he's gone through some of the
Him
things
and
that
his family don't
they don't
get along.
talk to each
Yeah.
other, because don't most people go? I guess that's his way of going to see a psychiatrist, so to speak, or
Could
going
be.
to see his counselor. Maybe
He's like
that is how
I
that's
bet he's
going.
got more of a shaman. I bet
He
has
does look like
I bet
a
he's a
shaman type
shaman
of
instead
guy.
of a psychiatrist, psychologist.
Do you think he wears deodorant?
Yes, I think he does. He dated a woman at one time
I
who
remember.
was very earthy and hippie and didn't do that kind of stuff. No, I respect Aaron Rodgers. I really do, because he's very forthcoming and genuine about this stuff, about his journey, his personal journey, ayahuasca and this kind of stuff too. And he seems to be open to exploring ways to find his, I don't know, whatever his purpose is,
Right.
a higher purpose than just being the football player. Like, he does seem to be in search of what he thinks may be a higher purpose or understanding of this life. And whether you are in search of that or not, you know what? I respect that. I'm not, you know, I now why he shares it with everybody, that's on him. But
yeah. Well, he was asked a question, though.
He was asked a question,
He was asked
and then
a question.
he went into.
He went way left on that. And I was not expecting that conversation. When I first heard it, I was like, is he serious? That's why, you know, Pat McAfee was like, bro, what? A.J. Hawk was like, man, I played on a team with you. What is going on in your life that this is where you're going?
I think he's in search for something deeper. I think there is, if you want to do like to psychoanalyze Aaron Rodgers, it would be that he's in search for something deeper. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's something that we all find in, with significant others, with families. Right? He's not close to his family.
Right.
He isn't married. He kind of goes through a cycle of starlet relationships, and he has a circle or a social group that's just, I don't know if they're close or if they're just convenient. So I'm not sure. But they're a Hollywood group, though.
No, yeah, for
and
sure.
Hollywood people do things that are unconventional, non-traditional.
That's because most of them are trying to get into character.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? You got to take yourself to another spot to get into
eccentric.
character. Yeah.
He's eccentric,
He's
like
definitely,
Hollywood
yeah.
people are.
Yeah.
We don't call them weird. We call them eccentric because they got money. You ain't have money. You ain't got money. You broke. You weird.
Right,
That's why
right.
we all weird.
Right.
But he's eccentric.
Good
that
point.
means you got money.
Touché.
All right. We'll come back. We'll get into a little Texas basketball discussion. They lost to Kansas on the road, but they split that horrible road trip, the horrible stretch, I should say, in Big 12 play 2-2. We'll get back and discuss that right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Top of the Charts Tuesday. We play jams to reach the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. And my man Patrick doing a great job as always. You can be a part of the show on the Specs text line 512-337-3776. Specs text line lit up with a lot of comments and responses to the Aaron Rodgers audio we played. Aaron Rodgers telling Pat McAfee that yes, he will indeed be going on a darkness retreat, 4 days isolated in darkness without any human contact or any sounds, no radios, no televisions, no telephones, and he'll have somebody feeding him food through a random like drawer, a slot or some sort, like basically what you see people fed through in jail when they're in isolation.
Exactly.
When they're in isolation in jail, that's basically what it's gonna be fed through. They got a little hole in the door. They're gonna just shove the food in there and give them some water. And that's it. I don't know how he sees the bathroom, where the bathroom is, or the bucket in the room. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't want to be the janitor after that.
Does he have a nightlight? Can at least you gonna see where the bathroom is?
Yeah,
a nightlight?
exactly.
You can see where the bathroom is.
You know, all you gotta do is come down to Austin early February.
Yeah.
City of Austin Electricity will hook him up with that one.
Yeah, you can be without power. You got no light, no power, no nothing.
Exactly.
But yeah, a lot of people having comments about that. So some people here, I'll read a couple of these because you guys are in rare form. Someone says he got to be hanging out with Ricky. You know what? Ricky might have participated in a darkness retreat before. Ricky's eccentric. We love Ricky, but Ricky's eccentric.
He's very much so.
Yeah, so I wouldn't doubt if Ricky's like, I do that once a year. Annually, I do my darkness retreat. Someone says that a lot of athletes that have their own blank, but the dude can ball. Yeah, I mean, he's like Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
Kyrie's got a lot of stuff going on, but you accept the Kyrie Irving, theatrics because everybody knows Kyrie Irving is a damn good basketball player when he's focused. Someone said I had a patient who was going to a purging retreat. That's some weird-ish out there that people claim works. It's anecdotal, but to each their own. Yeah, a lot of stuff is placebo effect. You think it works, so it works. I don't know if it actually has any, tangible proof that it works. But if you think something works, it works.
No doubt.
To me, that's always my guess. If you think it works for you, it works. If it makes you feel like you got more energy in the morning, then it works for you. Period.
Now, I will say it does seem weird to voluntarily go into solitary confinement. Like, this is a penalty in prison, and then we're just gonna be like, well, you know what the penalty was? The lights are always on, so we'll just turn them off the whole time. And then it's basically the exact same thing as what they do when you're bad in prison.
Exactly.
If you've
Put them in the hole.
If you've read books about people in solitary confinement or who've done time in prison, they do say there is some type of spiritual, kind of spiritual experience that you can reach in there by yourself if you are able to meditate and do that, because you are totally alone.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's quiet in there because I don't know if prison's that quiet anywhere, even in solitary confinement. But there have been people who talks about, they have not religious or spiritual experiences. Just doing that kind of stuff, being that isolated. When's the last time in your life you were that isolated other than being in the womb? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about that type of sensory deprivation where, maybe you can come to some type of spiritual mental clarity that you've never been able to realize because there's always freaking noise everywhere you go. Have you ever been more than 3 hours without any sound or anything? Even when you sleep, there's something. Your wife is probably snoring. Whatever it is, like, that's never really happened.
That'll be me.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's so I respect it for the fact that go experiment on it, because if you can get some type of spiritual enlightenment that way, go ahead. Yes, it's weird and eccentric, but honestly, we broke down everything that all of us did. I guarantee we could identify 4 to 5 very weird eccentric things. We go, man, you do that all the time? That's weird.
So he definitely is the true guy that is walking around saying, "Hello, darkness, my old friend," because he is definitely by himself.
He is. Like I said, someone says, blind Longhorn fan says, "Come on, Rod. Blind people find the bathroom just fine every day." That is true. Very true.
I will tell you,
your point.
And that's impressive because the main thing I find in the dark is something to stub my toe on.
Exactly.
Yep. Find that. Whatever. If I've ever left a cup near an edge of a table, that's coming off.
Yep.
That is things I found in the dark.
I mean, listen, it ain't necessarily my thing, but I'm not gonna knock it. The ayahuasca, is he going to be getting high while in the dark? Because that could be a problem.
That could be
He's going to be
real
sober because
scary.
you can't be getting high while you're also
Trying to figure life out.
isolated
Yeah.
in the dark, dude. You could have some real weird experiences. You don't want weird, you want enlightening. So he says when he's done with that, though, he's going to let you guys know exactly what he decides about his future career.
It just seems like it. I know. Look, okay. It just seems like that is just so Aaron Rodgers, but
It is.
It is one of those things. He was asked a question. Is the only reason why we were knowledgeable of it, right?
Yes.
So that I'll leave it at that. But he could have said no comment. I'm not ready to make a decision. I will talk about it when I'm done doing what I'm doing. We didn't have to know that he was ISO. That's why there were so many questions. That is why A.J. Hawk and Pat McAfee, and we all know Pat McAfee's out on the reservation half the time too. But he was really trying to figure out, like, what are you doing? Like, what is going on with you that you feel like this is the best antidote for you to go out and do this?
Well, because he had one successful spiritual journey. Remember, he had the
Yep,
ayahuasca
yep,
trip,
yep.
and didn't he win MVP like after the ayahuasca trip? So, and he said he felt he felt the love of 100,000 hands touching him all at one time.
Maybe that's
You
why he's in
remember
there,
this?
because he don't think there are going to be
Remember this?
people in that room that he don't want us to know.
So I think he's
Yeah.
like I said, he's searching for something.
Yeah.
And if you are not searching for something, because most people see him as a very successful person, he's got money,
Yeah.
that he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and people want him to be to be searching for a championship. They want him
Yep.
to be on the endless search, and for him to be obsessed with winning championships and being a Hall of Fame quarterback. And the truth is, I don't think he's obsessed with that.
He's not.
I think he is looking for some type of other higher meaning, purpose, or satisfaction that football cannot bring him. And
Yeah,
I
that's
think
fair.
honestly, I think he's fine with his career ending just the way it is right now. I don't think he cares about winning another title or another MVP.
No, he really doesn't. He
I don't think
cares
he
about the MVP.
And
he says, I'm still able to go out and win an MVP.
He said I can win it, but he didn't say it mattered to him. He said I
Yeah.
can win it. I can win it. He's saying I'm that good. I can still do it. But I don't think it matters to him, and I think it bothers us that it doesn't matter more to him.
Yeah.
It's like Ricky Williams, right? It always bothered everybody that Ricky didn't love the game as much as we loved it for Ricky. Remember, Ricky always said, like, I didn't really love football as much as everybody loved it for me. Everybody wanted me to play because I was really good at it.
He wanted to play baseball.
He wanted to do what he wanted to do. He
Yeah,
just wanted to do what he wanted to do, unencumbered, unattached. I'm Ricky. I decided to make a decision. This is what I want to do. And he was before his time because the NFL now has kind of, modernized their policy on marijuana and THC and all that kind of stuff. But Ricky was never obsessed with being the greatest running back of all time, which he had a chance to be.
Yeah.
Like, he was that physically gifted, but there were other things that mattered more in Ricky's life
Yeah.
than football. And I think for Aaron Rodgers, there's some of that where it's like, football doesn't matter that much to me.
Yeah.
Like, you love it for me because I'm really good at it, but I don't love it like you love it.
Yeah.
I
That's
think,
fair.
And I think that bothers all of us.
Yeah.
'Cause we want him to love the game. If you're that good at it, why wouldn't you want to be the best at it? He's like, I've been good at it.
Yeah. I've been the best at it.
I've satisfied my, whatever my
I've
expectation
been the best
is.
at it. I got awards for it.
Yeah, and we want him, even at 38, to still be chasing it. And I think for him, he's like, no, I'm done chasing that. I'm going to chase other things. There's other things in my life that I want to chase. And we're saying, you can do that when you're retired. And he's saying, no, I'm doing it now.
Well, that's kind of like where we were with Tom Brady. His obsession of the game was something that we're judging Aaron Rodgers
Exactly.
on, because you're looking at it and saying both of you guys are at the top of your game still, but one is obsessed with it, lost his family because of it.
Come on now.
And one is like, no, I'm good. I'll just go out here and hang in a hole, and y'all just feed me through these wires. Yeah, I guess that does make sense.
Yeah, he doesn't have the competitive sickness. And I think, for us, it's perplexing.
Yep.
But he's perfectly fine and satisfied, I think, chasing a higher purpose in his life that has nothing to do with football.
Yeah.
And for Tom, like you said, it's interesting watching real time, comparing it to Tom Brady, whose entire legacy and essence seems to be wrapped around the game of
Obsessed
football.
with it.
And which we love.
Yeah.
Which makes it in more
Which his
endearing.
wife did not.
And which his wife did not.
Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers ain't even got a wife.
Yeah.
Right?
So that's why he's able to do it too. I say, hey, I don't got nobody to report to. I go do what I want to do. So I'm now going to get all of this out of the way before I do decide to do something else.
I would love to see, we don't know what Aaron Rodgers is like, obviously, off the field because, we just get these little snippets. But there are reports that he's not close to his family. There are reports that he's not, that he cycles through kind of Hollywood starlets in relationships, which, hey, man, good for you.
Hey, man.
Yeah,
Enjoy that, player.
Yeah, if you could do it, hey, man, good for you. But and also there are discussions that his teammates aren't that close with him either.
Yeah.
If that is the case, then I wonder if him continually searching for something with these spiritual experiences or whatever is him just kind of searching for a connection.
Yep.
And, and maybe he just doesn't have enough human connection in his life. I don't know.
True.
I'm trying to psychoanalyze him. I'm not Blackman Freud here.
Yeah, you might be.
Let's get into Texas basketball. But that was an interesting soundbite there from Aaron Rodgers. All right, Texas basketball losing to Kansas last night, and it was a disappointing performance by Texas basketball. Not that, they're still leading the Big 12, by the way. So it's not that this Texas team is underachieving or anything, but I think we have identified what is a character flaw with Texas basketball. These slow starts have become, I don't know if they're an issue because they've actually had double-digit comebacks and won even with the slow starts, but it is something that has become a pattern. It is a trend now, a clear trend, and if you want to call that a character flaw of the team, you can. We're being nitpicky because this is a really good team, but that's part of the reason they lost this game 88-80. They dug themselves in such a big hole. It's really hard to fight back from that deficit. You expending all that energy, making the adjustments schematically, personnel-wise, and then battling back on the road against a really good Kansas team. They just didn't have enough juice to do it.
Yeah, and that's the part, too, where you start looking at this team. They were down 42-35 at the half, never led at all during this game. They had a scoring run of 8, and they didn't lead at all. So when you start looking at this team and you try to figure out, okay, what is happening most of all? And it's the slow start. There's no doubt about it. But one of the things that was troubling for me yesterday was the fact that they gave up 24 points on fast break. That means you're not getting back in transition. That means that you are not stopping the ball as soon as it starts going. You're not making them work to get baskets. You are just giving up easy buckets. 24 points off a fast break.
That's a lot.
That is way too much, and that was totally out of character for what they have done throughout the season. So for me, when you start looking at where are some of the issues, yes, obviously the slow start, but getting back on defense, man. What in the world makes you think it's not okay? And I give Kansas props for this because they obviously saw something on the scouting report to make that happen. And when they did get it to happen early, they went after it often. So for me, the Texas Longhorns, when they get back and they start breaking down this film and they start looking at it, transition defense is one of the number one priorities that I think they need to address immediately.
Yeah, that was one of the things. I think turnovers is also something that hurt this team a ton early on in the game. And that's something that's also been part of the pattern when this team has a slow start is the turnovers early on in the game. And I think this game, and they clean it up in the second half. They do have the stretches where they clean it up and they make their adjustments. That's what I like about Coach Terry and about the team. These issues that we talk about, they have shown the ability to rectify them real time in the game, whether it be with the halftime adjustments, the video segments they use, so they can do it real time in the game and make the big comeback. They didn't in this game, but we've seen it before. Or the bounce back after a loss. That's why they haven't had back-to-back losses. So that's what I like about Rodney Terry. So the optimistic view of the loss is they haven't really allowed any of these negative traits about the team or any of their limitations to come back to bite them and turn into a bad stretch of basketball where they're losing back-to-back games.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that Patrick was talking about this week is with this tough stretch, you can't lose back-to-back games, and they didn't. They went 2-2. We expected them. We wanted to at least have a split because it was a tough road to hoe. And they're still, like you said, Rod, at the very beginning, they're still in first place.
Yep.
They're in first place in the Big 12, which is one of the, if not the toughest conference to perform in. So I'm optimistic that all of this is going to be adjusted and they're going to come out and play well on Saturday morning, 11 a.m., big game. But to me, the one thing that they definitely need to work on is cutting down the turnovers and, of course, getting in transition on defense. I need that to stop because I'm going to take it as a one-off, but 24 points is way too much. If you cut that in half, you win the game.
Yeah,
because they were getting all easy buckets. And as I said earlier, if I told you that Jalen Wilson only had 2 points in this game and they shot 2 of 10 from three-point land, you would think Texas won this game by a landslide. But what they did do, they kept attacking the rim. When they were missing those shots, they kept getting foul shots. They went 22 of 28 from the free throw line, and that ended up being the difference in the game.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. It's for Texas coming up, and we all said before this 4-game stretch that we thought 2-2 would be perfectly acceptable for this Texas basketball team
because of who they were playing.
Right? You talk about top 11 teams, 4 in a row. They're 2-2.
Yep.
And Patrick wanted a team that didn't lose back-to-back, still haven't lost back-to-back games all season long. So they're right where they need to be. Excuse me. They're also leading the Big 12. And now it's about correcting these obvious issues and rectifying them and then playing your best basketball and trying to close out the Big 12 season really strong.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you just go into these next 3 games. I think your goal in these next 3 games is looking at it and saying, let's play 40 minutes. You know, I get against Kansas, I get against some of these other teams, it's hard to play 40 minutes because they're going to go on runs. It throws you off. But hey, let's go in these games and play 40-minute games because they're winnable games. We are the better team. Let's go play 40-minute games. Because we've just seen it. Times where they're just not mentally focused. Their mind's not in the right place. And, I mean, I'll give credit to Bill Self. He coached a good game that when Texas made their runs and came back, he would found ways to change up what Kansas was doing and attack Texas in different ways. And that kind of helped make the difference is Texas would shift its defense and then Kansas would respond within the game, and they could go on another 8-0 run until Texas would shift back, and Texas just doesn't have an offense that you can really overly destroy somebody unless everyone is hitting threes on the perimeter.
Right.
That's a good point. And so we're being nitpicky, by the way, for those who think maybe we're just being too critical, overly critical about this team. We understand how good this team is after going 2-2 through the last 4 games, the toughest stretch of the schedule. I think it's fair to say you should have high expectations for this team.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
And you're going to make a deep run in the tournament. Got to find a way to start faster, to have better starts, period, so you don't end up playing from a deficit or playing from behind so much. But you do have belief that you can do it, that if you have to come back from double digits, that you can do it because you did it multiple times in Big 12 play. And, I think the smaller, more specific items, Patrick brought up rebounding, which is inconsistent with this team. Turnovers early on, that's a problem for this team. And, other than that, the defensive lapses in transition. I mean, we're being really nitpicky about the small things, but that's what's going to keep you from making a run in the tournament.
Yeah.
You are a team that has shown you got a high ceiling. But it'll be those potential flaws that are going to hold you back.
Yeah, and for the game to play the way that it play out the way that it played out last night, they came back. They tried to get there. There was a shot that Marcus Carr took that you thought that they were about to take the league. It came up short, and they went back down. Kansas went back down, got a big bucket. Like I said, they've been spending most of their time at the free throw line, and Jalen Wilson wasn't even a factor. But you also got to look at it this way. Kevin McCullough, who used to play for Texas Tech, he was 10 of 13 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
He was attacking the rim. They were making the adjustments. And Texas wasn't doing that. They kept settling for mid-range and jump shots, and they were 6 of 19 from three-point land, and they just kept jacking it up. When you know and you saw the game was being called a certain type of way, you needed to keep attacking the rim, and they just didn't do that. So there were some opportunities that Texas had that they kind of missed. Tyrese Hunter, we've been talking about him quite a bit, and he's just his inconsistency is so much, and then the fact that he didn't help on the defensive end. What did I say yesterday? He was getting easy buckets because he was playing good defense. Mm-hmm. Well, last night he got outplayed by the other team's point guard. And you can't have that, especially if you're not shooting the ball at a very high clip. And I know everybody keeps talking about Marcus Carr on the defensive side. Marcus, he does get into that point where he does look like he's becoming a liability, but that was because he's playing so much on the defensive, on the offensive side
so much
of the
energy.
ball. Yeah. But some of that is on him too. I mean, get up off the ball and work without the ball. Because again, last night he was getting to that point again. Yes, he was shooting up all the shots, but I keep looking at it and I'm like, get off the ball for a minute, man. You can take a break on the offensive side sometimes, because that is where I prefer you take a break. I prefer you to take a break on the offensive side and exert yourself on the defensive end, especially when you have some other guys that are scoring buckets. Every once in a while, it's okay for you to not be the one to have the ball in your hand the entire time, 15 seconds into the shot clock. Sometimes, hey, let some other people go to work and get ready to play some defense too.
That's a great point. Yeah. Marcus Carr, he was 29 points, so he was most of the offense last night.
No
But
doubt.
you're right, he can work off the ball too. That's a great point. Because Serge Rice makes good decisions with the basketball, so he can be a guy that can handle the rock for you, really conduct the offense while he's playing off the ball. And he can score in so many different ways.
Yeah, for sure.
He can create his own buckets, but I'm with you. I think offensively, he can't allow somebody else, especially when Timmy Allen had a good game too, and Timmy Allen can handle the rock at times, and the offense can work through Timmy. I agree with that 100%. So Texas, disappointing loss to Kansas, but they're still atop of the Big 12 standings right now. It is the slimmest of leads in the Big 12, but still, that's what matters. And the Big 12 women, are they also atop the Big 12?
They are. They're number one in the Big 12
so.
as well.
Man,
Yes, they are.
Shout out to the ladies as well. Texas basketball representing for both the women and the men. All right, we come back. We'll get into Raj Round of the Day. We haven't talked Super Bowl, so let's do that in Raj Round of the Day. Let's get a little Super Bowl discussion in. Obviously, as the week rolls on, we'll dive deeper and deeper into the matchup, but let's talk about the big game coming up right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my favorite new tequila, Hot Cat Tequila. Well, it's not that new anymore. It's been around for a while because I've been talking about it for a while, and that's why it's my favorite new tequila. I've been telling you guys for about a year now that you got to try Hot Cat Tequila. The cat stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila, and the recipe, just as simple, just as delicious. It's just cinnamon, agave, nectar, and tequila. That's why it's so light. That's why it's so smooth. It is a tequila lover's dream. And if you're not a fan of tequila, Hot Cat Tequila will make you a fan of tequila. It turns any event into a party, and every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Once you try Hot Cat, you can't go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you order rounds of when you were just trying to get the party started. But you can get the party started with Hot Cat Tequila. No football watch party or big game watch party is complete without Hot Cat Tequila. It's the perfect way to pregame for the big game, concerts, festivals, or a night on the town with family and friends. Visit cattequila.com. That's cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila, or to find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. Toast and turn up to a new year with Hot Cat Tequila. All right, welcome back to Rod's Rant of the Day. And since we're talking about the big game coming up this weekend, we got to let you know about our terrific sponsor that helps us with our big game coverage.
The Horns Big Game coverage is brought to you by Texas Truck and Trailer, located in Leander on Crystal Falls Parkway and in Northeast Austin at I-35 and Runberg. Call Texas Truck and Trailer at 512-528-6038. That's 528-6038.
All right, let's get into some big game discussion breakdown here about the Chiefs and the Eagles. One of the things I just can't get out of my mind, and I've been starting this breakdown, going down the rabbit hole, and I brought this up earlier, either this week or maybe I brought it up last week. But look at the Chiefs. One of the things you got to give props to the Chiefs about has been their ability to rebuild certain position groups on their team. They essentially devote an entire offseason or an entire draft to just one position and remake it in one offseason. They did it with the O-line right after the Super Bowl. Remember, they had all the injuries on the O-line. Bucks, dominated them, made Patrick Mahomes look pedestrian, which is hard to do.
Yeah, he was beat up.
He was beat up, and then they basically revamped and overhauled the entire offensive line at offseason. Now their offensive line is set for the next 5 to 6 years. Offensive line is kind of like I love using Tom Herman's Golden Gate Bridge analogy because he always said that rebuilding he compared it to a program, but I use it for the O-line. Rebuilding an O-line to me is kind of like repainting the Golden Gate Bridge. By the time you're done, you got to start all over again. So when you're done revamping the O-line, you might as well go back to where you started and just say, all right, we need to draft another backup tackle or guard or wherever you started, because that's really what a monumental task you're undertaking. But anyway, I digress. The Chiefs, they did this with their secondary recently. They did it with their O-line. They'll do it with their wide receiver position next year, because wide receiver position, they're money balling it right now with Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney, Mecole Hardman's not even going to be able to start that game. He's on IR now. But they did this offseason. They drafted. Here's their draft. I'll just give you their draft and where these guys ended up playing for them. They ended up drafting key starters or role players with at least 6 picks in their draft. It's crazy. McDuffie is a starter they drafted in the first round. Karlaftis is a starter. They drafted him in the first round. Second round, they drafted B. Cook. He's a nickel safety. They drafted Sky Moore. Now, he's their wide receiver punt return. They have a big punt return in their last game, too. Williams is a starter for them. They drafted him in the 4th round. Watson, starter, 7th round. And Pacheco is a starter for them. They drafted him in the 7th round, too. They're hitting on a lot of their picks. These guys are in the big starters for them. I am not really sure how much confidence I have in all the rookies they're starting on defense. They're going to start 5 rookies on defense, basically. 4 rookie DBs as primary defenders. Now, they're getting back L'Jarius Sneed.
Sneed, yeah.
They're getting back him, I believe, right? He's coming back, and that's big for him.
Louisiana Tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that where he's from? Because they got so much inexperience back there. 4 rookie DBs as primary rotational players. Rookies. Like I said, the last time that's happened, 1981 49ers. Ronnie Lott, by the way, last time a rookie was an all-pro, and Sauce Gardner just did it. So last time it happened was 1981. You had 3 rookies on that 1981 49ers teams who were primary players in that secondary. But, man, but the Chiefs have 4. Trent McDuffie, Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, and Brian Cook. That scares me. I'm not going to lie. That really scares me. I'm concerned about now they played great, and they're playing better and better toward the end of the year. But this is going to be a big game anyway for teams who haven't had a lot of experience. And by the way, this is going to work against the Eagles, because the Eagles have never been here before.
Right. Not this group of guys.
Yeah, the Chiefs have. Hey, they've been here. They've won. They've been here and lost. They're going to be pretty relaxed in the Super Bowl, chaos and the extravaganza that it's all become. But just on the field, though, I think they're going to. If I am the Eagles, I start my game plan attacking those rookies, and I think the Chiefs know that. I think Spagnuolo knows that. Yeah. So he's got to protect those rookies, and protecting those rookies could leave you vulnerable in other places. That's my concern.
Spagnuolo is he's a veteran. He's been around. He's seen pretty much everything that you can see in this game. So I'm wondering if, to your point, he's already played that through his mind. And maybe he's been talking to Andy Reid. How would you attack our team when you're looking at us as these young players? but it's going to go a lot to their veteran leadership as well, because they do have some guys up front that have been around the game and, as your point is, played in the game a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see how they attack that.
Yeah, and they've played a lot of press coverage. Kansas City aligned in press coverage 44% of the time on the widest receiver. So you're what do we call the number one receiver, the one that's closest to the sideline. That's second highest rate in the NFL. This is the seventh season that Kansas City has been in the top 5 of press coverage rate, and top 2 in 4 seasons under Spagnuolo. So Spagnuolo likes to play press coverage. Now, you're going to play press coverage with your rookie corners, your rookie DBs against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. A.J. Brown averaging a career-high 4.5 yards per route run versus press coverage. And he is second in the NFL in receiving yards versus man coverage. And Devontae Smith is third in receiving yards in the NFL versus man coverage. Nobody beats man coverage like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith do a really good job of, especially press man coverage. Kansas City loves press man coverage. With their rookie DBs, they got a lot of faith in. I wonder who's going to end up winning that matchup. That's going to be big for Philadelphia. Philadelphia should win that matchup. If Philadelphia's not winning that matchup against rookie DBs, then things may shift in favor of Kansas City in this matchup, because that's one of the advantages one of the many advantages I think that Philadelphia has going into this matchup. Now, Kansas City has used a lot of dime defense. And they love their young DB to the point where they use 7 DBs. They've used 6 defensive backs, dime package, 30% of their plays in 4 of the last 5 games. Now, in the first 14 games, they only used dime package more than 30% in 3 of those 14 games. But in 4 of the last 5 games, they went upwards of 30%. So they're using a lot more DBs on the field, and they're really just depending on Chris Jones up front to be a war daddy and get him aligned in one-on-one pass blocking situations. And there's probably not an O-lineman, not many, maybe 4 or 5 in the league that can hang with Chris Jones in a one-on-one blocking situation, interior or outside line.
Yeah, he's a problem. Yeah. He's a problem. But I could say the same thing for Hassan Reddick as well on the other side of the ball. So I agree with you. This is going to be the battle of the lines of scrimmage. And to your point about the young DBs and where they're going to be, I think a lot of that has to do with the guys up front. How do you take some of the pressure off of him? Get to the quarterback. Change the way he has to think. He may want to attack them deep, or he may want to attack them across the middle, but if somebody's busting him in the face as soon as he drops back, this might be something totally different.
Yeah, I'm with you on 100%. And, one of the things I'm worried about if you're, picking Philadelphia in this game is Jalen Hurts. Now, Jalen Hurts has had a phenomenal season.
Yep.
So it's just, the matchup against Kansas City as of late. His last 4 starts, 60% completion percentage, barely.
Yep.
I mean, he's barely at 60%.
Still coming off that injury, too. So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the point I want to make. Yep. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 75 passer rating, 6.8 yards per attempt, and he hasn't rushed for 40-plus yards in a game since week 15.
Yeah, that changes this week, though.
I'm assuming because it's all or nothing, right?
Yeah, there is no tomorrow.
But he hasn't been really an effective passer in that time span either. He's struggled as a passer in that time span.
Do you think it's because defenses are adjusting to him a little bit?
No question.
Yeah.
No question.
Because, we talk about it numerous times. Once they start getting film on you, things start to change, and they start setting up where they saw other teams have success. They start implementing it with their guys because, obviously, they think their guys are better anyway, so they want to put it in the right way. But one of the things, I know you got some more to get into, but one thing I wanted to point out as well, you pointed this out to me earlier this year. The biggest question that I'm going to have is, are the Philadelphia Eagles going to be that second quarter team like they have been the entire season? That's going to be the separator, right? That's where they made their mark.
It is.
And that's when they started breaking away from teams, was that second quarter. But they haven't been as effective here lately, going back to what you're saying about the stats.
But they did in the playoffs, basically. In the playoffs,
they've gotten way better now.
Right, in the playoffs. It seems like whenever Jalen Hurts is there, they can have that second quarter surge. They essentially, at one point, I haven't followed it up. I'll do the research maybe tonight. They were the greatest second quarter team in the history of the NFL. Essentially, their second quarter was better than any other team's quarters ever.
Yep.
in the NFL. Their second quarter was the best quarter of any team's quarters.
I
in
made
the
a
history
little
of the
change
NFL.
from that because you gave me that
It
stat,
was
and I was like,
crazy.
I'm gonna start following that.
And they really, but they haven't been a 4-quarter team. Is your
Right.
point? It's
Right.
like no, if they don't have that second quarter, blowout, then usually it becomes a dogfight for
Yep,
them.
for
You
sure.
can stay in it with Philly if they don't end up knocking you out, cold cocking you in that second quarter.
Right.
So that's going to be right. That's a great point to bring up about, and Kansas City can keep up with you.
They can keep up with you. That's
Kansas
who they
City
are.
keep up with you,
And
yeah.
here's the thing that I wanted to put out too, and I saw this on ESPN because they had the ESPN analytics. This is crazy because both teams are 16-3. Both teams have scored 546 points.
That's crazy.
Both teams have 6 All-Pro players, and both teams are 50-50 to win the Super Bowl. Unheard of.
Yeah.
Unheard of.
It is. I'm with you. Like I'm pretty split.
Yeah.
I say I'm leaning one way. I made my pick yet, but listen, Patrick Mahomes picking against Patrick Mahomes is just not a smart pick.
Yep.
It's just
It doesn't do well for you.
Picking against Patrick Mahomes
Yep.
and Andy Reid, it's just not smart. And like I said, I think Philly has every advantage except head coach, quarterback, and tight end.
Yep.
But those may be all the advantages you need.
No doubt.
You got one of the best head coaches in NFL history, one of the best young quarterbacks in his prime in NFL history. Going to be well rested, by the way, with the high ankle sprain.
Yeah, I'm tired of
And-
people asking him about his ankle.
Oh,
I'm
man,
like,
he's
the
gonna be
dude
fine.
is ready to go.
He's gonna be fine. 2
Yeah.
extra weeks, he's gonna be fine. They doing
For
all
sure.
all types of witchcraft.
He's hanging
and
out with Aaron
voodoo.
Rodgers.
Yeah, exactly.
He got his
Voodoo
foot in
on
that
ankle.
cave.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
That ankle's gonna be fine. But yeah, picking against those guys, Patrick Mahomes in his prime, and then Kelsey, his favorite target, also
Mm-hmm.
a Hall of Fame tight end. You're talking about 3 Hall of Famers.
Yep. Yep.
3 Hall of Famers. I know the Eagles got some Hall of Famers on their team, but do they have Hall of Famers at the
premier
most important
positions?
positions?
Yeah.
Head coach, QB, and
Yeah.
then who's the QB's best friend? Oh, that tight end right there. He's a Hall of Famer too.
Wide open.
That worries me a little bit. And I'll give you one stat before we get out of here because I know we're up against it. This is how good Patrick Mahomes and that Kansas City offense is. And by the way, they lost Tyreek Hill. Didn't miss a beat.
Nope.
Arguably better statistically than they
Adjusted.
were last year.
Adjusted.
Just amazing.
Yep.
With wide receiver by committee. Who the hell these days has wide receiver by committee? We just had this offseason was the inflation offseason of wide receiver position when 9 of the top 10 highest paid receivers all signed their contracts.
Right.
And yet the Chiefs went the opposite. They zigged and everybody else zagged and went, now we got the guy at quarterback.
We
and
got
got
our
a great tight end.
quarterback.
We'll
That's right.
we'll get a bunch of Jags and jabronis and we'll make it work. And they did, by the way.
Yep.
3rd and long, which is 7+ yards to go. The toughest situation to be in offensively in football. 3rd and long, right? It's the only time the odds flip in favor of the defense. You go look at this. Kansas City, they're converting right now, 3rd and long, 7+ yards to gain for a first down. 42.9% conversion rate. The second highest in the NFL in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Only the New Orleans Saints in 2011 have a higher 3rd and long conversion rate than the Kansas City Chiefs
Wow.
in the last 20 years.
Wow.
Damn. On 3rd and 10+ yards to go, how about this? 43%. They're actually a higher conversion rate on 3rd and 10+ yards to go than they are on 3rd and 7+ yards to go. That's the best in the NFL, by the way. The NFL average on 3rd and long, 19%. They're at 43%.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. It's
Kansas City's offense is on another level, man. It's a different level. And Philadelphia, as great as it is, they ain't seen nothing like Patrick Mahomes.
no
Nobody has until you do.
until you hey, recognize me when you see me. That's
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, this is the best team that Philadelphia has faced, and this is the best team that Kansas City has
Correct.
faced. It's a beautiful thing.
That's why they both have been the top of the charts since the beginning of the year. So definitely since the halfway point.
Yeah.
We all started trending in that direction. We said it about Philadelphia, and when you just laid it out there, when you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Travis Kelce, and, of course, Andy Reid, that's what the table's been set for.
Yeah. Oh, man, I cannot wait. This is
know.
going to be one of those
This
Super
is-
Bowls where I'm going to be so sad if it doesn't live up to the billing and the expectation. Because right now,
You mean like the Denver Broncos game where they snapped the ball over Peyton Manning's head to start the game
and the
off?
game was over from
and
then
the
on.
game was
the
over.
game was over from that point
Yeah.
on?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember we got so much food for that game. We had gumbo, wings, ribs. 'Cause we thought it was gonna be like an all-time great. It's the best offense in the NFL versus the best defense. Like it's gonna be an all-time great Super Bowl, and it wasn't.
It
It
wasn't
was
even close.
horrible.
Yes.
I am praying it doesn't be. I don't care who wins. I just want a good game.
I think we'll get that.
I think we will, too.
I think we get
All
that.
right, we come back. We'll talk about Matthew McConaughey, who may be taking over for Kevin Costner. What? Right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104 Down the Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Top of the charts Tuesday. We play jams to reach the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. I know we're up against it, so I'll be quick here. We're a little off the record. So Matthew McConaughey is back in the news for two reasons. First, they're saying being reported he might join the Yellowstone franchise. McConaughey news item that hit the headlines today, according to Deadline and The Hollywood Reporter, neither of which named a source, says that Matthew McConaughey is in talks to star in a franchise extension of the wildly popular Paramount TV show. A spokesman for the network told media outlets that Matthew McConaughey is a phenomenal talent with whom we'd love to partner. The reports come amid rumors that Yellowstone may be coming to an end, possibly due to star Kevin Costner's shooting schedule. Yeah, how about that?
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also it says that Matthew McConaughey, who didn't have a movie, no project at all in 2022, just kind of took a break from things, that he is set to voice over an Elvis animated series on Netflix called Agent Elvis, where basically Elvis is a secret agent as well as a rock and roll legend.
What?
It's kind of how...
It's kind of like you think about Craig Way all the time, right?
Well, is it based off the fact that he got like an honorary sheriff's badge from one of the presidents? I know he got a badge from
I do
somebody.
remember that, yeah.
Yeah, there's
I've
this
seen
thing
that
where they were
before.
like, you're so influential, and he just wanted to have it, and so he had it, but then he used to whip it out all the time. And he'd be like, like, dude, that has no actual power.
You might be right about that. Yeah, because you ever seen the movie? Because I'll watch any bad movie. Good bad movie or bad movie, doesn't matter. You ever seen Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Oh, no, but I remember when it
You
came
remember
out.
this?
Yeah.
This kind of reminds me of, like, they basically took Abraham Lincoln in some alternate universe and basically decided to make him a vampire hunter who also was, trying to run for office at the same time. So, yeah, that's basically what this animated series is about. And yes, you could do a show about Craig Way.
Yeah.
As the secret agent, but also the play-by-play voice of the Longhorns.
Well, I'm looking at this little teaser of this Agent Elvis.
Oh, you saw it
And
already?
it kind of looks like, have y'all watched Archer?
Yeah, I've seen it. I haven't watched it.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm
FX?
thinking. When I see this, that's what I think of it as.
Yeah, because it's got to be I hope it's adult version, like an adult
They
cartoon.
just said, for sure. They
Should
said
be
it's
rated.
definitely going to be profanity laced.
Okay, that's good then.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
You just gotta still watch. You have to watch cartoons. You have kids.
I do.
You ever watch cartoons on your own? Still as an adult?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
I'm into the DC comics and like the Marvel comic anime. My wife will come in and I'll be watching the cartoon. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm watching an entertainment program on television. It's just animated." Sorry.
I've got hooked on Big City Greens, and I watch Boondocks.
Boom! Oh yeah, I used to watch Boondocks.
Boondocks
for a
is
while,
good,
too.
yeah.
yeah.
That's good.
And of course, The Simpsons and Family
Oh,
Guy.
yeah.
Kind of
Family
South
Guy
Park.
used to be at Cleveland.
South Park.
I love me some the Cleveland Show.
Cleveland Show. Yeah, King of the Hill, of course.
Yeah.
You can still watch cartoons. There's nothing wrong with that.
No doubt.
All right, we come back. We'll get into last segment of the show, actually. Mark Cuban speaking out for the first time about the Kyrie Irving trade and LeBron James. LeBron James. Will he make history tonight? We'll discuss it right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Wow. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Top of the charts Tuesday, where we play jams that reached the top of the Billboard charts on this day in history. I don't think I've ever heard this song before.
Oh, man, this is pure nostalgia for me.
Ooh.
This right at the time I watched this movie with my grandparents, I think.
This
And
movie.
it's all of it is none of it's good. But because I was the right age, and it was like such a big deal at the time, but it was right age where I'm like, oh, it all works.
So the movie was a big deal back then.
It was a big deal, but it wasn't a good movie.
Oh, big deal, but not a good
Star-studded.
movie. Star-studded, but not a good movie. Wow. I don't know.
I can tell you this is Bryan Adams, Rod Stewart, and Sting.
Man, it's a star-studded
movie
song,
was
too.
this?
Three Musketeers back in '93.
Come on.
With Kiefer Sutherland,
Yes.
Charlie Sheen, and Chris O'Donnell.
Yes.
Terrible casting.
And that was them like early, like them.
That's the beginning of their real.
And this is not supposed to, it wasn't supposed to be a comedy, was it?
No, but this is like the thing
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
it's all for love. Is it supposed to all for one and one for all? It's one for all and all for love.
Well done, Patrick.
It is. It's so everything about it is terrible, but I
oh
love
my
it.
goodness.
I want to say it's possible I've never seen that movie, and thank the Lord I've never seen it.
You don't. And the best part about it is
Yeah.
I just named those three. Do you know who the fourth guy is? You know, there's four like actual Musketeers, not three Musketeers.
Wow.
Oliver Platt.
Come
really,
on.
really sticks out like a sore thumb on that movie poster.
Man, I cannot believe that we had
terrible.
a Three Musketeers reference on
Yeah.
the show, the movie reference.
I mean,
'Cause-
well, you know,
because I
we're-
don't think I've ever seen the movie. Now that you bring it up, I'm trying to think.
You
I
didn't.
I don't think I ever saw it. I never saw it. And I like a lot of bad movies.
No, and I mean, there was a 2011 one, I think, too, that's also bad. I don't know if they've ever made a good Three Musketeers movie.
It's fair. Okay. Yeah. Nah, you could be right about that. I can't remember one. Not
That's
thinking
so
of that.
crazy. I would have never got that. Never would I have gotten that.
The song though is perfectly cheesy for the time
Oh,
period.
it's so 90s. Like,
Yeah, it's-
when you
yeah.
had to have a song for the movie.
It's dripping.
And they were like, well, it's the Three Musketeers, so we have to get three guys to sing it.
Yeah.
Just beautiful.
And I would love to know the scene in the movie where they decided to play that song, because I mean that was especially cheesy.
Oh, it's so over the top. The music video for it, too, great, too, because they're all like coming in like, hey, man, haven't seen you. We're like, none of you are friends.
I am very thankful you didn't use that movie for midweek movie.
Oh,
music.
yeah, we would have
Thank
missed
God.
that.
No, not missed it. I'd have been in pain most of that show listening to those very cheesy 90s
Kiefer
songs.
Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, just pull
Yeah.
up that movie poster in your
I
free
see
time
it.
and enjoy it.
Rebecca De Mornay was in there, though.
Hey, Rebecca De Mornay.
Yeah, she was in there.
Hey. Rebecca De Mornay started off in kind of like in soft porn, I believe,
Very much so.
and then she
I
actually made the
think
transition.
I saw every movie she made.
Mhm. She started off in like
Yeah.
soft core porn. Very hard to make the transition back to mainstream entertainment, but Rebecca De Mornay, I believe, was one of those who did it.
Yeah, she did well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
She did well.
Is that risky business, right?
It
Rebecca
was
De Mornay?
risky business.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man, nice. She will always be remembered forever.
I love this
And
one
Rebecca
right
De
here.
Mornay.
And I would agree. Puss in Boots is the best musketeer. He's
Oh,
never been touched.
Is Puss in Boots basically based around the musketeer
He
thing?
he is a musketeer.
He's a musketeer?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, he walks around with his sword and it just
Do that, what's that noise again? I, can,
it's like Zorro.
I like how you rolled the tongue, too.
Yeah,
Good for you.
Zorro.
Nice.
Puss in Boots has never been touched.
Well done. You hear that Eddie Murphy's upset now because
Yeah,
he
'cause he
thinks
passed-
Donkey. He wants Donkey to have his own movie franchise now. He thinks Donkey was funnier than Puss. Why did Puss in Boots get the movie instead of Donkey?
I don't know, maybe it costs less?
Oh, that's probably true. Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess.
because Eddie is that dude.
Yeah. And who is the voice of Puss in Boots?
Antonio
Banderas. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's kind of big. He's not as big as Eddie though.
not anymore.
But the movie would be funnier with Eddie.
Well,
Donkey movie would be funnier than
I
Puss
would
in
love
Boots
to have
movie.
a donkey movie.
I'm
I
saying
think that
it'll
would be great.
I'm not saying Puss in Boots wasn't funny because I haven't seen it. You've seen it, but I'm saying
Multiple times.
Donkey would be funny because Donkey's funnier even in the Shrek movies.
Oh,
That's
for
what
sure.
it's Based on.
Yeah,
And Eddie's funnier than Antonio Banderas.
all day, every day.
And by the way, I'm a big Antonio Banderas fan. Who's not?
Well, you better be. You better be.
You better be.
You better be.
All right, let's talk about Mark Cuban. I don't know. Maybe Mark Cuban is an Antonio Banderas fan. He's definitely a Kyrie Irving fan. Because
Which is shocking.
why? Because he's Jewish.
Well,
That's one of the reasons.
There are some reasons why people don't like him.
Yeah, I guess that could be one of the reasons. Well, he made the Kyrie Irving trade, and he came out recently and spoke to the media for the first time about the Kyrie Irving trade, and he seems to be really excited about it. And Kyrie, by the way, did land in Dallas yesterday. We saw that little nugget. He said, quote, he says here, the opportunity to get another player like Kyrie that's transcendent. This would give us the best backcourt in the NBA. We are probably the best ball handler in Luka, and now we feel like we have the second best as well. He said that creates unique opportunities, puts a lot of pressure on the defense, allows us to rest Luka more when Kyrie's on the court. We really think it's going to be good for us. Both of them just like to win. They'll hit the hot man. They'll move the ball. I don't think either one feels like, okay, I have to score all the time. I know with Luka, it's always been go with the hot hand and let's just win. Kyrie's the same way. So he's really excited about it. He's basically talking about, the on-court dynamic between the two, which I said yesterday, and I think Patrick agreed, I think it's going to work on the court. I'm not really concerned about whether they're going to have good chemistry and whether it'll work between Luka and Kyrie. I think actually it's perfect. They need a ball handler, and they need someone to help shoulder the burden offensively. They love iso ball. I found some more numbers about Kyrie and his time with the Nets, but you go look at it, Kyrie is a great ISO player, and the Mavs are the team that leads the NBA in ISO opportunities, and ISO plays. So they play a lot of ISO ball, and if you look at, over the last, 3 years or so, Kyrie Irving has also remained one of the best ISO players in the league. So essentially, they're just going to, take turns.
Yeah.
Kind of tag teaming the ISO opportunities with the Mavs, and it's going to be up to the defense to pick your poison. You're going to let Luka beat you today, or you're going to let Kyrie beat you today, because that's basically what their offense is going to be, and then they're going to sprinkle in a little Christian Wood within the offense. That's it, and it should make them, honestly, one of the top offenses in the league.
Well, again,
theoretically,
I agree with you on the offensive side of the ball, but the part that really drives me nuts is who's going to play defense out of that group. That is the biggest thing for me. That's because I got texts from Dallas Mavericks fans all through the night last night, and they were like, we need defense. We need defense. And I was like, well, the object of the game is to outscore your opponent. So if you score one more bucket than your opponent does, because you've got two of these guys that are deadly with the ball in their hands, is going to give you a better chance. But I do agree, if they can play a little bit of defense, because we've talked about Jason Kidd and his thoughts and how he designs his team, if they can get a little bit of help on defense, I think this might be a big move. And if we go out there and we start seeing some struggles and some changes between these two, then we'll go back and reassess it. But I think the Mavericks did a great job of getting a player, and the fans have been begging for it. Remember, there was a sign of somebody painted on a mural in Dallas where he was holding Luka was holding up a sign saying, "We need help. I need help." And Mark Cuban was not happy with the mural, but what did he do? He went and got him some help.
He did. Oh, yeah, and he's tried multiple times now, right? After the Kristaps Porzingis experiment failed, now again, he is trying to at least convince Luka, hey, you need to stay with us because we're always going to build a championship contender around you. And, some people are concerned. I think you were one of the people concerned hard about the dynamic between the two. So as Luka leads the NBA in average time of possession, 9.6 minutes. Also leads the NBA in seconds per touch at 6.3 seconds. He is second in dribbles per touch. So, yeah, the ball is all usage rate. He's among the league leaders in usage rate. The ball stays with Luka, all right, period. Yep. And some people are concerned that, well, if you have a ball-dominant Luka, then a ball-dominant Kyrie, how's it going to work? Truth is, Kyrie is not as ball-dominant as people think. Right. Look at those same numbers. I said Luka leads the NBA in average time of possession, 9.6 minutes, seconds per touch, 6.3 seconds, and second in dribbles per touch with 5.5. And if you go look at it, though, and he's fourth in touches per game with 90.5. So usage rates are through the roof. Kyrie Irving, those same numbers, he's 22nd in time of possession, 41st in seconds per touch. He is 53rd in dribbles per touch. Not as ball dominant as people would think, especially not as ball dominant as a Luka is. So I do think that they could make this thing work between Luka and between Kyrie. It's all about Kyrie's ego and whether Kyrie's going to decide that he wants to be the superstar and he wants the blueprint to revolve around him. I don't think he'll be that guy because he's actually had a pretty good resume on court of working with those stars like KD, like a LeBron, Jason Tatum, whoever you want to name, the list goes on and on. It's just he starts to voice his displeasure off the court, and then the off-the-court stuff starts to affect the on-the-court chemistry.
Agreed. Yeah. Agreed. It does change the dynamic quite a bit when the off-the-court stuff tries to seep into what's happening on the court, because then it becomes the distraction. And that is something that he does not need to be while playing in Dallas. They've already gone through a lot. Mark Cuban is done a decent job, but we've all talked about the fact that he had an opportunity to build a dynasty, and he broke it up. When he helped Dirk Nowitzki and he brought in Jason Kidd, and they had that opportunity because then they got rid of Tyson Chandler. They started selling off all the parts that helped them win a championship, and now it's like, what are you going to do next? Are they thinking this is going to be the one to get them over the top, or is there another move that needs to be made to finish it off? We don't know. We just need to see what happens when they get together and if they're both can stay healthy. Because don't forget, Luka's out right now because he's dealing with an injury.
That's true. And Kyrie Irving only played 143 out of, 278 possible regular season games with the Nets. So he didn't play. Him and KD only played together, I think, 74 out of 206 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, and there's a whole, he wasn't going to get the vaccine, so he couldn't play for half of a season, over half of a season there.
That's true.
Like, there's stuff in there that it is his decisions, but it's also put into he could have been available, so it wasn't necessarily injury history. So it's in a different world. But he's had that a lot, where he's sat out games because of whatever. He's been suspended. He's had other stuff. I think that you're going to see a team that will work together for the time being. I think Luka's three-point numbers might go up a little bit because you're going to see them have to play off him a little bit and collapse down when Kyrie takes the ball to the paint. And when you see that, Christian Wood and Luka could be very, get a lot more wide-open three-pointers. And that's something that both those guys can nail.
Yeah.
And right now, there's not as much of that just because it's only Luka. Yeah. He's always driving. So the threes he's taking are normally 5 feet behind the line with a guy on him.
Yeah.
So his numbers may go up a little bit there. I'm excited to watch it.
Me too.
I am. Wait. We're all worried about the defense, if they're going to be able to put enough to stop some of these other big-name teams, and especially when you get to the playoffs. But for the Mavs, I don't think they had many other choices. I think the sit around and hope for it to work in free agency thing has never worked for the Mavs in the history of Mark Cuban owning this team. So if you go, hey, man, we got a relatively low price for a superstar.
Yep.
A first-round pick that we're hoping will be a high first-round pick because 2029, Luka will still be playing well at that point in 6 years. So we hope to still have Luka and still be there. And we gave up a role player, basically.
Yep.
We gave up 2 role players, and one of which was Dinwiddie, who is a starter, but he was coming off our bench. So for that, to get a Kyrie Irving level player, you have to jump at if you're the Mavs, because you don't really have – like the Lakers could play harder ball because they go, oh, we have a decent enough shot to go get him in free agency. Like
they do. Yeah.
Like if he wants to come to L.A., we'll get him. We're the Lakers. That's the reason people hate us. It's because we always find a way to get our guy in the free agency. But the Mavs don't have that.
No, I totally agree about the Mavs don't have that. And, yeah, they have to, take a shot, go all in. And I'm not mad at them at all for what they did. It's a risk, but no risk it, no biscuit. Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians, that's right.
No risk it, no biscuit. And hope is not a strategy. So they did what they had to do, and I can't wait to watch it. It'll be really compelling drama to watch unfold for the NBA. All right, real quick, before we get out of here, because we got the Coaches Show with Vic Schaefer coming on.
No doubt.
After us at 6:30. Matter of fact, that is live at Pluckers.
West Campus, live at Pluckers, Rio Grande.
Yep.
Beautiful thing. So West Campus, Pluckers, get out there, and you can hang out with Coach Schaefer. I'm sure he's brought out some of the entourage with him as well, getting out there and support the ladies for Texas women's basketball.
And he did say 10,000 for tomorrow night. 10,000. If 10,000 fans show up, he's going to give $10,000 to the neighborhood Longhorns.
Is that tomorrow or is that the last game of the season?
I thought it was for tomorrow.
It might be tomorrow. I know he's done it for the last game of the season as well for Baylor. So I know he's done it for that one. But yeah, if it may be for next one too.
Yeah.
I'm sure he will tell us.
I'm sure he will.
But yeah, it's $10,000. If 10,000 people show up to the Moody Center, then he will give $10,000 to charity.
Man, yeah, Vic Schaefer's the real deal.
Yeah, he is.
He is truly the genuine article, man. Literally putting now his money where his mouth is.
You're right. It's the home finale.
That's what
it
I
is.
thought
The home finale.
Against Baylor.
Yep.
There you go. All right, so real quick before we get out of here, because we can't wait to hear what Vic Schaefer has to say on the coach's show coming up next with Craig Way. Of course, is Craig Way? Craig Way's on it?
Yep.
Yes, Craig Way, the voice of the Longhorns. Okay, let's talk about LeBron James for a couple of minutes here, gentlemen. Do you think LeBron James breaks the record tonight?
I believe so.
You do?
I believe so.
Needs 36 points to do it.
TNT is in the house. It's a big game. And he's still trying to make it to where they can get into the playoffs. They got a battle to be into the playoffs. So
it's going to be a struggle.
So it's all about the win. I know you talked about, are they going to feed him, or is he going to be looking for a shot? LeBron's going to be looking for a shot because he's been scoring a lot of points here lately, period.
He has been.
He's been carrying his team because he's been very efficient with his shooting. So I'm looking at him breaking it, and I said he's going to break it with a three-pointer.
Okay, you got a three-pointer. Patrick, your thoughts?
I think he breaks it, and I think he puts up a lot of points tonight. I think he goes hard at it, and they focus the offense around him.
What's the shot he breaks it on? Because Hart said three-pointer.
Tomahawk
dunk. Oh, I like that. Okay,
if they don't get back in transition, he'll be able to do so.
I'm going step back, fadeaway ISO is how he breaks the record. Don't do it on the free throw, LeBron. If you can break it on a free throw, miss that damn free throw.
Get it back and dunk that thing.
That's how you do it. All right, happy anniversary, fellas.
Happy anniversary.
And thanks to all the folks out there on the Specs text line and the listeners congratulating us. You're a part of this. We love you guys. We really do mean that. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll be talking about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. Take care of yourselves, but more importantly, take care of each other. We got the Coach's Show with head coach Vic Schaefer coming up next with Craig Way, the voice of the Longhorns, live from the Pluckers on